What is up, SquareHammers, and everyone that is watching today? We are going to be reviewing the Warhammer Armies Project version 1.4 Wood Elf Army Book. And I got my buddy Curt here, who you will recognize from the Tomb Kings review.
What up, guys? Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. Thank you for joining, and thank you all for that was helping me, with your messages. I'm trying to set up this video with OBS and stuff like that, and getting all of our audio correct. So, as you can see, the Wood Elves, Fury of the Forest. My first army ever from, I think I was 8, something like that, in 1996, I believe it was. Yeah, this was my first army. I still have my 4th edition army book. It's falling apart. It's fallen apart, and it's sitting in my display case right now. So obviously they carry over. WAP carries over the old artwork, and it's all tagged with copyright and all that stuff. But beautiful Glade Riders going crazy with Orion in the background. These might be Wild Riders at this point. Smashing some beastmen.
You know how last time we talked about, what my first army was. The reason that I didn't go with Wood Elves was because when I was getting into it, I think it was them and Skaven had like the oldest books or something. It was an 8th edition, but before they got their new release, and everyone's like, yeah, they're trash. They haven't had a book in like 2 decades, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll shy away from them. And then later on, I saw they got a new release and some. I think they got some models, right? In 8th edition?
Yes. So they had the Sisters of the Thorn came out, and so did the Wood Elves. Or not the Wood Elves, jeez. Sisters of the Thorn and Wild Riders, and that was the same box.
Wild Riders.
They also got the new Tree Man.
What about Rangers? Were they always there? The Wild Ranger?
No. Those were new too.
Okay.
And so were the Eternal Guard. They flipped from the old pewter Eternal Guard to the newer plastic ones where they actually came with shields, because the older ones only had... wait, are you talking about going from 6th to 8th? Like 6th, 7th, going to 8th?
I'm just talking in 8th in general. That's when I was aware of them.
Yeah, so they had the Treemen. The Treekin, I think, came out in Finecast. They didn't have
ugliest
those
models on the planet.
They're just like sticks.
Yeah.
They're just sticks. Let me close this. You don't need to see this one. Okay. Jimmy, if you never played against Wood Elves in 8th, they were pretty strong, because that's when they were all able to take their magic arrows, which instead of just like the strength 3 armor piercing or at half range, I think the old Glade Guard used to be able to be at like +1 strength. Now you can take all sorts of magic arrows. It was like +1 to wound, like no to hit penalties whatsoever, so you could be behind cover, behind a unit, or skirmishing, and you could just ignore all that stuff, which a lot of those magical arrows carried over to the WAP book. Curt, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry.
What are you doing? Get off your phone! We're live on YouTube! Oh, you're painting? Oh, okay. He's painting, guys. So.
I'll try to stand more straight up.
No, that's okay. I forgot. I didn't realize you were painting. I thought you were like fubbing us, and I think fubbing means like staring at your phone and everything. So he's painting. Sadly, he's painting 40K, but we will forgive him, fantasy lovers. We will forgive him.
There's a day for everything.
There is a day for everything. I used to be a huge 40K player, so that's okay. So what else? Let's start reviewing by Matthias Ellison, v1.4. And I think these came out just last week, if I'm not mistaken, with some changes here and there. I don't remember all the explicit changes from 1.3 to 1.4, but I know they weren't drastic. I think some of them just had to do maybe a little bit of point changes, but mostly just from the flyer changes, flyer rules. If anyone knows of those changes, you're more than welcome to type it in the chat. Okay, so since this is usually like a 2-hour video, we're not going to go through all the awesome lore that is written about the Wood Elves and how amazing they are, but let's just start with the Army Special Rules. Could you angle your camera down a little bit so it just keeps you in the...
Yeah.
And you're an Orioles fan? Let's go O's!
I'm from Baltimore, man.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. I was born in Silver Spring, so...
Okay, I was in Parkville.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so Army Special Rules. Like all elves, They have Elven Grace, which gives the model a 6-up dodge, rule in close combat only. However, it cannot be used against enemies that attack before the model with Elven Grace. So I'd actually have to check in the book to see if... So in 1.3, you were allowed to take even dodge from impact hits because it says like you could take it including from impact hits. But so it's a ward save. A dodge is specifically a ward save that stacks with other ward saves.
I was going to say, so this one, that was, I think, a question I had when I first saw it. So a dodge, just any ward save stacks with any ward save.
Right.
So that can get pretty filthy with some other ward save options in the book.
Yeah, so even if you had a parry for some reason, you had a 6-up parry, well, if you have dodge, now you have a 5-up parry, which is one of the big things that Dark Elves could do with bleak swords, which is why a lot of people were, why would you ever take Spearmen if you could just take bleak swords for a 5-up parry?
It's pretty solid on Eternal Guard, right? Because they can parry...
Well, I don't know if they can with that special weapon.
The Sarath or whatever?
because I think that's two-handed, unless you can choose to use it as two-handed or one-handed, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, Blessing of the Ancients. Any model with this special rule, which is mostly the Spellslinger and the Spellweaver, and is within 6 inches of a forest, gets +1 to cast and dispel. Pretty good, especially if you're Wood Elves, you're going to have at least one forest on the field.
Was that always within 6 inches, or was it in the forest at one point? Because I could have sworn it was in the forest at one point.
I think in 8th edition it was in the forest, which I have right here.
But regardless, that is such a good buff, just like a baseline buff for all your stuff, because you're playing Wood Elves, you're going to try to get as many forests onto the table as you can, so just basically always getting a +1 to casting and dispelling is super powerful.
I agree, and my favorite item in 8th edition was the Acorn of the Ages. It made my Spellweaver have, like, no defense, but it was just awesome to put D3 extra woods on the field. Yes, so in 8th edition, Blessing of the Ancients, you actually had to be in the forest, within the forest, and it's only +1 to cast. Now it's also +1 to dispel.
Right.
That's okay. Forest Spirit. A model with this special rule has Fear, Forest Strider, magical attacks, immunity to psychology. In addition, they have a 5-up ward save, and it's a 6-up versus magical attacks. However, units of Forest Spirits may only be joined by characters that are also Forest Spirits. So you can't have just a Glade Captain join like a unit of Treekin.
Unless you give him a special item. But
which turns him into a Forest Spirit, right?
The Helm of the Hunt. Yep. Love that item. But yeah, this Forest Spirit rule is super strong. Probably, maybe not half, but close to half of your army. A lot of typically what's going to be your Wood Elf army will get this rule. And just having fear, so big part is to make you immune to fear, is a big part of that. Immune to psychology, the 5-up ward save across everything, that's just like really clutch.
Kyle, your message was retracted. What do you have to say?
Oh, I hate that. What are you hiding?
Yeah, Leadership 9. Are they Leadership 9 in WAP? I'll have to get through that, but that's amazing because I remember I used to have to take the Standard of Discipline to make the unit Leadership 9. But, so in 8th edition, it gave you Forest Strider, which it still does. It still gives you musicology. It didn't used to give you Fear, which is cool, and you only had a 6-up ward save flat. So in WAP, they got a bonus. It's a 5-up against non-magical attacks. That's pretty nice.
It's really good, but I feel like it's also almost necessary to make a lot of those Forest Spirits good because I think the Tree Man might get a 3-up, but everything else is worse.
Yeah,
armor everything else gets a bad save.
Yeah. So they have a 3-up armor save. Well, we're getting into that. Ambush from the World Roots. Now this is different. It's a little different. So a Wood Elf player can place an additional forest no more than 12 inches in diameter. So you pretty much get a free forest always. In 8th edition, you didn't used to get that. No, I'm sorry, you did. But it didn't specify like how big the forest could be. And I believe it was only if you had a pitched battle, or was that even older? No, okay, you could still always do that. It's not mysterious terrain. let's see if you still can choose. Yeah, so you still get to choose what type of forest it is, which is amazing. So, like, you can set up to be the dangerous one, like anything that goes through it's dangerous. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, so that it's really disgusting because wasn't the Venom Thicket? I think it was the Venom Thicket. Wow, they can have a 50-point banner now? That's amazing. So they can be, they're already stubborn. What would you take up to 50 points worth of banner for Eternal Guard?
Oh, there's, you'd give them AP, probably.
Razor Standard?
Yeah.
That's so expensive. They're only strength 3.
Aren't they strength 4?
No, they're just elves.
Well, okay, well, they'll be strength 4 when they get charged.
Yeah, by bigger stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But yeah, that AP comes in handy. So
yeah.
You can, because you don't get any AP from the strength.
Yeah, you can actually kill stuff. Let's see. So the longbow. Longbow hasn't changed. It's just a longbow, and they have armor piercing 1, which is the same in 8th edition. Now let's get to the special arrows.
Here we go.
Oh, so this is amazing for WAP. In 8th edition, you do not suffer -1 for moving and shooting. That
Clutch.
It is like, it just makes Wood Elves obviously some of the best shooters in the game because you can march, let's say you're fast cavalry, you can march your, 18 inches because you're movement 9 with your fast cav. You can march 18 inches and not suffer -1 for moving and shooting. And then there's all sorts of arrows you can combine with that, which is, we'll get to that right now. So Arcane Bodkins, not even close to as good as what it used to be. So right now, it just gives you an additional armor piercing. So since the Wood Elf Longbow is already armor piercing.
What did it used to be?
It used to be -3 to your armor save.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was expensive for like a regular Glade Guard. I think it was 4 points a model. So your Glade Guard would go from like 12 points. Let's see. Glade Guard.
I'm gonna write an open letter to Matthias. Is that his name?
Yeah, that's
and be like, hey man, so I know you thought Wood Elves shouldn't have AP3, but I think differently.
Okay. So Glade Guard used to be 12 points, and it was 5 points to give them Arcane Bodkins. So you'd have a 17-point BS4, Toughness 3, 0 armor save Wood Elf running around the field. So super expensive, but it would murder knights. But I've never taken that on them. Enchanted arrows. Blah, blah, blah.
How many points are they now? 2 or 3 or something?
I think it's probably 3 for an extra armor piercing. So they still have Hagbane, which is poison attacks. Poison attacks definitely got weaker in this edition because now it's just +1 to wound instead of rolling a 6 to just auto hit. I've
heard people think that's a nerf, but I don't know that I agree with that.
I guess it really depends on what you're shooting.
Yeah. +1 to wound is, I think, across fantasy and 40k is like one of the stronger buffs you can get.
Right. So instead of needing 6, anything that was T5 or a monster, you used to just roll, let's say, 10 shots and you'd get 1 or 2 hits. Sorry, 1 or 2 like auto wounding things, which was pretty strong. Whoa, Jack, it's only 1 point? Holy cow, that's low.
I was going to say, I think they're cheap.
That's really low.
But the models themselves, I think, are a bit overcosted. But we'll get there.
Okay. Only 1 point. Wow, that's huge. So Hagbane is poison. I still like poison. I used to always take five models of the, not the scout, Deepwood Scouts. You just take 5 of them with Hagbane, and you're just harassing monsters pretty much the whole game, which you can still do.
Yeah, I mean, the poison arrows are definitely one of 2, I would say I take. Maybe 3.
Okay.
But poison will be up there typically.
Right. Starfire Shafts. You get to re-roll. So any panic test that you make the enemy take, they have to re-roll any successful panic test. Not very good. It used to be hits from the Starfire Shafts has +1 to wound rolls on forces of destruction. So re-rolling a panic, it's as if you'd have to shoot everything. I mean, it depends on if you gave it to your whole army, but that is probably the weakest of the arrow options.
Yeah. I don't think that's very good.
Now this is my favorite one. right now, Swift Shiver Shards. I'll tell you
Yes,
what
sir.
I'll tell you what it used to do. It used to just give you multiple shots too. So if you had a unit of 10 Glade Guard, you're now shooting 20 shots. Okay? Pretty good. Now, as you can see, the shooting attacks allow them to fire multiple shots even when moving. So you can move your block of 10 Glade Guard 5 inches and still shoot 20 shots. And you are not at -1 for moving and shooting because Asari archery. So you're only -1 for multiple shots. So that means if you're BS4, you're hitting on 3s and 4s for multiple shots. You're shooting 20 shots that are hitting on 4s that are armor piercing. Pretty good.
That's my favorite one. That's what I typically take every time.
Yeah.
For some games, I've switched out for the extra AP, and for some games, I've taken the +1 the wound. But more often than not, I go with these ones. I always go with them on the riders.
Glade Riders?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I think if you're ambushing the Glade Riders, which I think you might still be able to do, you are going out of the camera a lot, though, just so you know. Let's see. It's like not picking you up. But, so, if you are artillery hunting with the Glade Riders, it's not bad to give them poison instead of the multi-shot, but it really just depends because you shoot once and then you charge next turn. But
True.
Arrows I used to really love in last edition were if I wasn't taking poison, I was taking True Flight. So in 8th edition, you would shoot the True Flight arrows and they would suffer 0 hit penalties. So you're marching, you're shooting at skirmishers, you're shooting at behind hard cover, all that good stuff, through a forest, everything. There's no penalties. You're just hitting on 3s no matter what. You can move and shoot, no penalties whatsoever, hitting on 3s. Now, it's only ignore cover.
Yeah.
So they just like super nerf that item, or that arrow. I love Wood Elves, so if I get passionate, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. I still think Wood Elves are, in fantasy, since movement is key, Wood Elves are so weak and they are purely based on movement, in my opinion. They are the most tactically sound army that you have to be good with to be able to win.
Yeah, I was going to say high ceiling, low floor, because it's easy to get run over while playing Wood Elves. It's an army that like you said, it's all about movement, so you really have to be smart with your movement and capitalize that way, because if you just try to play like almost every other army and have your blocks and stuff and just march up the battlefield, you're going to lose badly.
I agree. I can't think of... what's it called when it's like you make a mistake and it's a big problem? Just blanking right now.
It's kind of a general...
yeah, but either way, it's like, it's not attrition.
Whoopsies?
Yeah, so unforgiving. There you go. Any mistake, it's very unforgiving army if you make a mistake. Very.
Yes.
Because you place something in the wrong spot and you could easily lose the game. Now, for other armies, you could handle that better, but when you have like no armor for most of the Wood Elves, it's very detrimental. Yep. So, Glade Lords.
Oh my god.
The Highborn. Sorry, I'm so excited. Have not changed in terms of their stats. Lords. The Glade Lord. Everything is the same. Still I8, 4 attacks, 10 leadership. Still has Elven Grace, which is nice. Psi Archery. So obviously they lost Always Strike First, just like, all elves. Same thing for the Glade Captain. Where you at, Mr. Captain? 6, 2, 7, 3, leadership 9. So it looks like I don't think they still have the arrow of Currenus. Yeah, so they got rid of that from 8th edition, it seems like.
That's just an item now, correct?
Well, no, that's the, you talking about the Hail of Doom arrow?
No, I thought there was something of Currenus, in the book, but I might be imagining things.
Might be. So I do know that in 8th edition, before the game started, if you're anyone that had that the arrow of Currenus rule, there you go. If you're within 36 inches of the general, and within line of sight, your model immediately, the enemy's model immediately suffers a strength 3 hit with no armor save. So it's just like before the battle starts, like the Wood Elf just tries to like assassinate the enemy general. So if for some weird reason you took like 4 or 5 captains or something dumb and a highborn, you just shoot like 5 strength 3 ignore armor save shots. I've never tried that.
They definitely don't have that anymore.
No. Sadly, they lost that. Because it was too easy. If you're shooting at like a level 4 wizard or something that didn't have any save, for whatever reason, it's just like,
yeah.
Spell singers, magical casters of magical users. Everything's the same there. All stats the same. Spell singer, all stats the same. I don't think, let's see, they can use Beast, Life, Light, Heaven, Shadow, and Athel-Loren. Obviously, so Wood Elf's got a new lore, but they no longer can use High or Dark Magic, which I believe they used to be able to do in 8th edition, which was pretty neat. Yeah, so they used to be able to use all 8 lores from the rulebook, plus High or Dark Magic, and they had their own special cards of High and Dark Magic. So they've lost a lot of access to certain spells, which makes sense, because why were they able to use like fire magic?
Right.
Didn't make a lot of sense.
How do you feel about the new lore? Do you want to jump into that?
Sure. Yeah, we can skip to that.
Just while we're out talking about the spellcasters and stuff.
Sure. Lore, Athel-Loren, lore. Okay, so if you want to, you do the lore attribute in this signature, and then I'll do the next one, and then we're flip back.
Okay, the lore of Athel-Loren. Yeah, so
you're right. You're right, Jimmy. It was a 6th edition lore too. You're right.
I don't even know what 6th edition is. Anyway, on to Verdurous.
Sure.
Verdurous Harmony.
Yeah.
That's your lore attribute. Whenever a spell from the lore of Athel-Loren is cast on a friendly unit, that unit immediately recovers 1 wound, rounding up to 2, worth the models as described in the regrowth spell in the lore of life. That's a solid spell, or lore attribute, basically just healing wounds left and right.
And it heals a whole cavalry.
And Tree Singing is your signature spell. It goes off on a 6-up. It's an augment which targets a forest within 24 inches of the caster. If there are no units within the forest, it immediately moves up to d6 plus 1 inches in a direction of your choice. A forest cannot move within 1 inch of units or other terrain features. If there is at least 1 unit, friendly or enemy, within the forest, and the forest does not move. Instead, choose a single enemy unit at least partially within the forest. That unit immediately suffers 2d6 strength 4 hits. The wizard can choose to instead have the spell target all forests within 12 inches. If done so, the casting value is bumped up to a 12-up. I don't... see, this is I feel like this is a really handy spell. I don't think I use it enough or well enough to really make a difference out of it. I mean, I'm doing it to get those attacks in, right? Like I'm trying to target forest and do 2d6 strength 4 hits.
Yep.
The moving it, I think, is kind of niche. Like it'd be cool if it helps you out in some way, but d6 plus 1, oftentimes we're moving 3 or 4 inches. It's not going to make a massive difference.
The only time I would see, I love getting the 2d6 strength 4 hits on an enemy unit. That's great. It is nice if, I'm trying to think, if you're moving a forest, it's good to sometimes put it in the way of something. If you if you're expecting the enemy cavalry to charge through that but if you move the forest over, they'll have to take dangerous, or it used to be where you wouldn't be steadfast in the forest. I don't remember I don't think that's the point now. But if you're in the woods now, you can move your whole unit backwards further. So if you're trying to back up away from the enemy to not let them get an easy charge, you can make it more difficult if you're just trying to pull back. Because Wood Elves
I think that's probably the good spot. I think that's probably the one where you're going to get the most use. I haven't even thought of that.
Wood Elves love moving backwards. And
right.
They have to. You got to get more shots in. Yeah, I don't really know about all forests within 12 inches, that doesn't seem... Yeah, I mean, that just doesn't seem worth it, because there's not going to be too many forests within 12 inches of each other, unless unless you do a spell that's later on.
Or you start with the one that you get at the beginning of the game and put it next to one that's already on the table that happen to both be, like, nearby and, like, on your side of the deployment or something. I don't know. It's like it's a lot of niche stuff. Like, it'll come up once in a blue moon.
Yep. Okay, so level 1, Fury of the Forest. Only cast on a 5-up. It's only range 18, direct damage. If you get it off, it's D6, strength 4 hits. If the target is within 6 inches of a wood, which is very easy to happen with Wood Elves, especially if you move the forest then cast it, it's increased to 2d6, strength 4 hits. And then you can increase it to range 36, and then it costs an 8. So it's very cheap to get off. It's one of those spells that you want to cast on something to pretty much get the lore attribute. Like, because that lore attribute, just regrowthing wounds, is very good. And it's only D6 strength 4. But if they're within 6 inches of a wood, you get 2d6 strength 4. So,
hey, and if they're like in a wood or partially in a wood, and then you just hit them with the tree singing, hit them with the Fury of the Forest, you just got tree limbs breaking ankles everywhere.
That would be 4d6 strength 4.
There you go.
That's a lot.
Out of the woods.
That's a lot. What's the average of that? 14? So that's an average of 14 strength 4 hits, and that would have only taken a total of, 11 to go off for 2 different, total.
Yep.
Like
6 and a 5.
Yeah, that's very, very easy. Twilight, it's all you, man.
The Twilight Host is an augment spell that goes off on a 6+ with a range of 18 inches. Until the caster's next magic phase, the unit causes fear. If the unit would already cause fear, it instead causes terror. And think about the whole tree spirit thing. So a lot of your units have tree spirit, and you flip this on them, and they'll cause terror. In addition, the unit will count as having twice the unit strength it really has for the purpose of determining steadfast and outnumber. The wizard can increase the range to 36, and it goes off on a 9-up. So yeah, double whammy. I think because, like I said, a lot of your units have far spirit, so they already have fear. So then you're just making units cause terror. You could make, something small cause terror and make people run away or have to roll a leadership to charge you or whatever. And then, twice the unit strength. That's always powerful. Steadfast and outnumber is powerful.
Yes. So terror, causing fear, going to terror. I mean, it's not a huge buff, but it's nice. It's like if you're going to get charged. So real quick, I did mess up on tree singing. It used to be where you could move, as Jimmy pointed out, that if you had a unit in the forest, you'd move with the forest. But now the forest does not move at all. So even if you have someone in the unit. So sadly, the forest doesn't move now at all. If you're if an enemy or allies in the forest. Okay. So the Twilight Host, as Curt just said, going to terror isn't huge because you would have already declared all your charges. So no one's going to have to take a terror check. I guess if you're expecting to get charged, then you hope that the enemy will fail a terror check so you don't get charged.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, if you're in a tight spot, if you have it could be like dryads going up the middle or something, and they're going to be like what your opponent has an easy charge target, and then you just cast that on them. And then if they have a bunch of units trying to charge that one big unit, then they got to make a bunch of leaderships. Could potentially run. Right.
Yeah, I agree. Inquisitor, I don't know how to pronounce that. Savak? Chesvac? Something like that. What's up, dude? Yeah, I think the best thing is the unit strength. Being able to double your unit strength. So if you have a unit of, let's say, 20 dryads, you now have unit strength 40. So there's a good chance that if you win combat, then they won't get steadfast. But if you lose combat, then you'll be stubborn. Or, steadfast yourself.
Right.
But
I don't think any of it is as good as the next one, though. The next one I abuse because I play against a bunch of opponents who like bringing their cannons and artillery and stuff like that.
Go for it. You can read this one. I'll read the next one.
Oh, all right. So we have the Hidden Path. Goes off on just a 7-up. So if you're noticing a trend, a lot of cheap stuff here.
Very cheap.
It's an augment with a range of 18. The unit gains the Ethereal special rule until the start of the caster's next magic phase. If the unit becomes engaged in close combat, the spell instantly ends. you can extend it to 36 and it'll go off on a 10 up. Now it's not like it works in combat or anything, so it's not like super OP. But this has saved my butt so many times when I have a big, scary unit of Wild Riders or something, and I'm playing against someone who has 3 artillery pieces and a bunch of guns, and I don't want them messing with me. It's just a super handy tool to have in kind of like a all-comers list, because you're going to go up against shooty people, and that's just really powerful to have.
I agree. I think Wild Riders, that is the prime target for most shooting, like just strength 3 or strength 4. You shoot at Wild Riders because they are a glass cannon. They will hit so freaking hard you have to whittle their numbers down before they get there. And making them ethereal, then they're pretty much only susceptible to like magic missiles and some other stuff. Because it's also great when you flank with a small unit. I agree. So if you have like just a couple Wild Riders, like let's say you're down to three Wild Riders, your unit strength is 6, you won't disrupt anything, but if you cast that on them, they're boom, unit strength 12, and you can disrupt them. So the hidden path is good, but what's good about WAP is that you get to choose your spells before the game starts. So if if you're going to be fighting like Warriors of Chaos or something, you won't need the hidden path. But if you're fighting against a standard like Null army for Empire, then yeah, you better take the hidden path, and you better put it on your Wild Rider so you get there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the next one, not as good against Dwarves and Metal Magic, agreed. So, Madrigal of Greening, cast on a 9. It's a range of 12. Place a forest within no more than 12 inches in diameter within the spell's maximum range. Any model on this forest are placed within them in the same exact formation. So, it's so awesome to just see a spell slinger go like, and just like you just see like trees just popping up everywhere inside a unit. Everyone's freaking out, and then you're just surrounded by like this freaking this forest. So,
and then you hit them with those other spells.
Exactly, you hit them with the other spells, or you can do it so you can only see through 5 inches of woods. Or like, I think that's what it is. So you can put it, so I've done this before. You summon a forest, they're expecting to be able to charge you on their next turn. You summon a forest in front of them, so they can't see you, so now they can't even charge anything. And then they have to walk through the woods, or have to walk around it, or whatever.
Now here's my brief but inexperienced thought on this. I don't take this a lot because I don't know how to get the best use out of it, because you have to put it wholly within 12 inches.
No, see,
so it's like it basically has to be on top of you.
It doesn't say that. So I was having a discussion with someone else, I think the last time I was playing Wood Elves. It says it has a range of 12 inches. Oh, here you go. I got a tape measure right here. Perfect. It has a range, I don't know if you can see it, range of 12 inches. And place a forest of your choosing no more than 12 inches in diameter within the spell's maximum range. That doesn't say wholly within. It just says within. So that means if you're here, I can't get the whole thing. So there you go. If you're here, why do I have a tape measure here? Haha, you're funny. I brought it over here. I was measuring a box to ship. But so
a box.
So if you have right here, if your caster's right here, if you put the tree at the edge of it at the 11 inches, then you are technically within 12 inches. Yep. It's just like charging. It's like if you're 12 inches away, or if you're 10 inches away and I roll, you're within 10 inches. So you only have to put like the edge of the forest right up against that 12 inches. It's like 11.99. That's where you can like start the forest, and then it goes 12 inches from there. So it's effectively a 24-inch, like, that's where the forest ends.
I think that's what makes sense. I think that's what is 100%. Intended.
Yep.
But it probably would be nice to get just a little clarification in there.
Sure.
Just because, I mean, you said you've talked about it, I've talked about it. It's obviously questionable. So it's a little clarification would be awesome, but I think we're good there.
No question here. The Wood Elves get it. They get the 12 inches. What's up, Savak? I think that's the way I said it the first time. Let's see. Twilight Host doesn't make you break ranks, just in terms of steadfast and outnumber. Unit counts as having twice the unit strength. Doesn't make you break ranks. Yes, but if I'm unit strength 6 and I hit the flank of something, then that means my unit strength is 12, which is, I think that's right. So if I'm over 10 unit strength, I disrupt the enemy. So then they don't get the ranks because I'm above unit strength 10. But then, obviously, they wouldn't get steadfast and outnumber if the 12 is higher than whatever they are. Yeah, you're right. I agree, Jimmy. It's not amazing, but I still like it. Because you can make your unit steadfast instead of expecting to just get crushed or what have you.
Yeah, it's really nice when you kind of have a unit that you know is about to take like a massive hit from something.
Right.
Gives you a little bit of a buff there to hopefully not want to run away.
All right, so next is Ariels Blessing. Are we still live? Yeah, cool. Ariels Blessing. Augment, range 12. The unit gains regen 4+ until the start of the player's next magic phase. The wizard can choose to increase the range to 24, and then it goes off on a 13. Normally, it's just a 10.
Mwah.
Not as good anymore, because regen and ward saves are the same thing. So,
I disagree with that whole rule, with that ruling.
I agree, too, since there are only a couple units that were able to get really nasty with like a 4-up ward and a 4-up regen.
Right.
But
I never knew it was an issue. I've never heard anybody say anything about it being a real problem.
Yeah, they talk about it a lot on the Discord, but I've never seen anyone run it in practice. So
right.
I guess it really just depends on what kind of person you're playing.
Yeah.
So it's not good for forest spirits if you're fighting like non-magical attacks because they always get a 5-up. So that would just give them 16.6, 17% like better chance to live.
I wonder if they're going to go through and kind of retool a lot of the regeneration abilities and rules and stuff because of that change. That'd be interesting to see if they do, because this is still awesome. Putting this on most of your elves, I suppose, because if you already have the 5-up on everything else, you put this on
Eternal Guard or the other one with the glaive, Wildwood Rangers. Yeah.
I love those models. They're some of my favorite models.
I'm half and half on them because the glaive is just so large. Yeah. It seems too unwieldy for them.
Yeah.
I have to look at them again. You know what?
You could always chop it down a little bit.
That's true. I would have liked to see what the elves in Lord of the Rings had. Like those glaives. I don't know if y'all can see them. No, It's not coming up at all. Well, whatever. It's just, they're very thick, and they look very heavy, but I think they might be strength 4 base, so that's probably they do look pretty buff. I can tell you that.
I don't think they're strength 4 base. I think they're strength 3 great weapons, so they can go up to strength 5, and they get +1 attack against things that cause fear or terror. They're not terribly good.
The musician on page 82 at the bottom is holding it one-handed and carrying the horn. He's like carrying it at the bottom of the weapon. Well, they are elven weapons, so I guess they are pretty light. So that is very good metal. I'll use that. That's a good excuse. They are very good metal. There you go. Okay. I think you're doing this one, Call of the Hunt.
Call of the Hunt. I abuse this so much, man. So this is super powerful. Goes off an 11 up. Like you'd think something this powerful would maybe go off like a 15. Nope. An 11 plus. The Call of the Hunt is an augment spell with a range of 18 inches until the start of the caster's next magic phase. The unit gains +1 attack, except for mounts. If the unit is not engaged in combat, it immediately moves forward towards the closest enemy unit using the random movement 2d6 special rule.
So good.
The wizard can instead choose to increase the range of the spell to 36, and it'll go off on a 14 plus. Now, giving +1 attack to something that already gets +2 attacks, if you know what I'm talking about, and then just get like 4 attacks apiece, and then, the extra random movement. If you fail that charge and you needed it, bam, throw this on them, get them in the combat. I've pulled some janky stuff with this before, but this thing's awesome, man. I love this spell.
The only thing I don't like is there are some spells that say accept mounts, and I understand why they put that. But when you have the spirit of Currenus running through your veins, and you are a freaking horse, or you are some kind of wild beast, you are going to go fervent, and your eyes are going to start going red, and you're going to be having like that
Right.
like that smoke coming out. You're going to be angry. You're going to feel that fury. The rage.
Yeah, those massive stags.
Yeah, like you would feel that. But
you seen those horns?
yeah, I get that they would nerf that a little. Like they wouldn't have it as mounts because then it would be a little too gross for everything. But I agree. The best
It's
thing
already super good for
Yeah.
an 11 up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the best thing about it, the +1 tack is nice because you're going to be putting out more output, but the 2d6 random movement counting as a charge if you hit something is huge. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What you talking about? What you talking about, Inquisitor? March into the flank, then cast this? Exactly, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah.
You go freaking, Wild Riders movement 8, so you go...
18.
Or yeah, movement 9,
It's
sorry.
9.
You're right.
Yep.
So you're moving 18 inches in the flank, and then if you get this
Tokyo
off,
Drift.
Bam! Oh yeah, because aren't they fast cav?
They're fast cav.
Yeah, so you could
got
go that
fast
way.
cav
And,
with an 18-inch move. You just literally slide sideways across the board, set up a couple inches away to a flank of something,
Mhm.
cast this on it. Your opponent's going to put all their dice, maybe even to the spell scroll against this.
you have to have they have to have some defense for that because that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, Highborn, Arch Revenants, away from the lore. Going back to Arch Revenants. So overall, I think the lore. It's more of a support lore. There are some things that do 2d6 strength 4, 2d6 strength 4, but it's more of a support lore because it lets you move your units around, it lets you move forest around, it makes your unit ethereal, so it's not much damaging like fire or death or whatever.
It's very similar to the lore of life. So it's a lot of buffing.
Yes, I agree. It's very similar to lore life. Definitely a support lore. But there's no dwellers below kind of like mess up a whole unit. So I would agree it is a very support lore, but it's very easy to get the spells off because most of them, like you said, are very low.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Arch Revenants, it kind of brings back what you used to have in the 6th edition, which were the altars, where you could upgrade like one character to be like movement 9 and like have extra attacks and initiative 9. And I think they're trying to give like a play to this. Is that the Arch Revenant that I'm thinking of? Let's see. 4 spirits. Infantry. They have fly 10?
Yep.
Oh no, I'm thinking of. I guess.
So this was a model that was just released by AOS like a year or two ago.
Right. Beautiful art. That's some really good art. I can tell you that. Has like some.
It's a cool model.
Yeah, Ariels kind of stuff going on. Okay, it has the rule Elven Grace, which we know, which we talked about. Weapon skill 6, not bad. Toughness 3, kind of weak. Initiative 7, but 4 attacks. Fly 10 is really good because all the other flies got nerfed. But the best thing is Call to Battle. All units with the 4 Spirit Special rule within 6 inches gain Frenzy as long as they remain within the range. So I guess you have to keep him within the 6 inches even in combat. Because if you charge away from it, you could be Frenzy and then have to charge something, but then you won't get the Frenzy bonus in combat because you're no longer within 6 inches.
Yeah, I was going to say, what unit can this guy even join?
As a forest spirit?
As a forest spirit who's not a tree, so he can't.
Wild Riders?
He's not on a mount.
He could still go in the unit, but it does slow him down.
Fly 10.
No, yeah, I guess he could go in the Wild Rider unit.
I think he would make them not be fast cav anymore.
But they already have Frenzy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
you're right. You're right. They would lose. Yeah, they would lose fast cap. Where would you put this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing.
I need to have like a second copy of this open.
Is there? There isn't an item or anything that makes that gives a whole unit Forest Spirit, right?
There could be a banner. It could be a banner. Let's see if anyone knows.
It sounded familiar, but I'm second guessing it.
True. Maybe we should just look here and ignore like the. No, because it has Glade Guard, exact same. I'm just going to go through this quickly so we can get to actually the. Is it the summary? I don't remember what it's called at the moment. Just the army list. Deepwood Scouts, same exact thing, but they have scouting and skirmishers, which is always really good. Glade Riders, they lost ambush. So in 8th edition, you used to have to put them in ambush. You couldn't even choose,
really?
Which made no freaking sense. In 8th edition, yeah, like They were like you could take a unit of them. I would always take probably just one as a all-comer list, just in case I'm fighting artillery pieces. Like I got one unit that's going to get in the backfield real quickly, but you could easily have a better deal if you took Warhawk Riders or something. So I agree soloing him out, but then he's just 2 wounds with a a 5-up ward save versus non-magical attacks. But I'm sure you could give him some cool armor and stuff to like a charm shield or something like that. But so Glade Riders used to have to do that. Eternal Guard, Stubborn, just flat Stubborn, which is amazing. You have one guy left. Your leadership 9. Deal with it.
These guys, I had them in a game against my buddy's Bretonnia list, and he charged a big unit of knights into him.
Okay.
They just withstood it, and then beat him off, made him flee the next turn, and then the following turn he had Pegasus Knights charge into him, and I did it again.
You beat him off again, huh?
Yeah. Because, I also had
Wood Elves are really good at beating off men. You're right, dude.
I had my Glade Lord in there beating him off.
Okay.
The
Master Beater. Gotcha.
Yeah, Glade Lord was in there providing a little bit of defensive buffs to the whole unit with a magic item.
Okay.
And then with Stubborn and stuff, they just withstood it. I think I may have given them some magic support as well. But Eternal God are awesome. Stubborn, straight Stubborn is so good. These guys can get an extra attack. Well, that's different, right?
So it says it can be either a spear normally, but it requires 2 hands and adds an attack. So all rules for spears, but it's 2 hands, so you can't use a shield with it, and adds +1 attack. So your basic guy is going to have 2 attacks, but it's 2 strength 3 attacks. I think they used to be armor piercing, which was
are spears not armor piercing in the book when you get charged even?
No, it's just +1 strength.
Strength and initiative.
Yeah, so the spear used to just be armor piercing. Let me see, Glade Guard. Eternal Guard. Yeah, so they didn't used to have this weapon. Yeah. But they used to just have armor piercing. So now they just get +1 attack instead. Which, 1 extra attack instead of armor piercing is probably better anyways. What is next? Wildwood Rangers. That's cool. That's a little... They are strength 4 base.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. They were in 8th edition. Let's see if I can find these guys. But they were only strength 3, so that's a pretty big buff. Yep, close combat 4+ then. Jimmy, close combat 4+ ward. How do you get a 4-up ward? You have the dodge, but it counts as it's not two single weapons, so you don't get a parry from it. Yeah, so you don't get a parry, if that's what you're saying, because you would get a dodge 6-up. You don't get a parry, so I don't think. Tell me how you get to a 4-up ward, and if they can get a 4-up ward, then being stubborn would be amazing.
Well, now you get a 4-up ward by casting that spell on them.
That's true. So I do like how Wildwood Rangers are strength 4 base now. That's really good.
Yeah.
They have the same thing, Guardian. If you're fighting against one thing that has like Fear or Terror, they have +1 attack, which is good because so much has... Oh, Reimer's Harp. Yeah, okay. I don't remember what it used to do, but that's pretty good now. So now they have 2 attacks apiece at weapon skill 5, initiative 5, strength 6 on the first round of combat. So there'd be initiative 3, unless they charge, and there'd be initiative 4, because they're a great weapon.
Yep, so my issue is I just can't typically find room for them. I love the model, and I think they're decent to good, but I just never end up finding points for them because they're not core.
Right.
So they're taking up room in your special, and you already typically have a bunch of special units.
Yeah, WAD Riders usually just take up so much of the special for most armies. Yeah, I agree. They were special, just keep going. I like them too. If you're running a heavy elf infantry list, well, then you take these guys over.
Yeah.
Immune psychology is good though. Like that's pretty
For
good.
sure.
War dancers, still not great.
Can you teach me how to make these things work? Because I tried, and I failed.
I'll tell you how they used to work in 8th edition, and I used it once for his vampire counts in one of our bat reps. I was playing against Bob, and it was amazing. I ran a unit of 20 of these guys, and the reason I did that is the reason because if skirmishers are in a forest, they're always steadfast, or they're always stubborn in 8th edition. So I had a unit of 20 stubborn leadership 8 war dancers. So they were holding the line very well because they can either be killing blow, get a 3-up ward, I think it was a 4-up ward back here, or other stuff. So
they can get a 3-up ward now.
Yeah, so it's as if you were Eternal Guard in 8th edition when you were in the forest, but you have all these cool dances instead.
Yeah.
Now
I like it. I like the rules. Like I like the different dances and stuff, but they're just lacking in something.
But they don't have killing blow anymore. That's the worst part. Like they used to be able to.
You got to give them that dance. Yeah.
No, there is no dance that does that anymore.
Yeah, there is.
Am I wrong? Oh, okay. I'm just
performing this dance.
Ignore me. I was
armor piercing and killing blow.
I didn't see it. I was zoomed in.
Okay.
Okay, so
all the dances here are pretty good. They really are. They have high weapon skill, good initiative. I think having only one attack base is kind of lame. We'll get two because I believe they have 2 weapons.
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
And then you can give them an extra from a dance, so they can have 3 attacks.
And you could cast a spell on them if you really wanted to give them an extra attack on top of that.
I think the problem is you can only do, you kind of need some of this stuff that's in the dances, and you can only get one of them.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, you can either give them that 3-up ward, but then you're not killing anything.
Yeah.
Good
stop.
Or you try to give them, beef them up a little bit with +1 attack and stuff, but then they just die.
Yeah.
They got nothing.
Right.
They got a 6-up ward save.
Well, now they have Forest Strider. No, they have Forest Strider. They don't have Forest Spirit. That'd be cool if they had Forest Spirit, but it would make sense. They wouldn't have that. Yeah, so it depends. Small units of 5 of them can still do damage because if you charge and if you're charging light armored stuff, well then you give them all +1 attack and you're swinging 3 attacks apiece. So that's 15 attacks, most likely hitting on 3s. But you're only going to be wounding on 4s. So
what I would really like to see is
good.
some kind of special rule where they can ambush out of forests or something. You keep them off the board, and then at some point during the game, you can literally have them charge out from a forest. That would be really cool.
I agree.
Because they need. That's really the only way you can use these guys in the data sheet as it currently is. They're just kind of like a 5-man unit. Have them hit the side or something,
Can they still break ranks? Okay, so let's say they're dances. They get the shadow dances, can't use them consecutively. It's either, as you said, armor piercing killing blow, +1 attack, 3-up ward, or always strike first. I think they used to have, you don't get rank bonuses. I think that was one of their ones in 8th edition. It used to be armor piercing killing blow, +1 attack, 3-up ward, or the enemy in base contact gains no combat result bonus for extra ranks. So you don't get your +3 ranks or whatever. But now instead it's just always strike first. Yeah, but you're always striking first with strength 3.
Yeah,
whoop-de-doo.
You're striking first already
and then you
a bunch
die.
Of times.
And then you die.
And kind of carrying over that disappointment, Shadow Dancers.
Well, real quick, so they start with a 6-up ward, which is good. They have 2 hand weapons, so that's a 5-up parry, and then they have dodge. So they actually have a 4-up ward in close combat without even taking the 3-up ward dance.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only in close combat that they have 4-up ward. That's it. So they just get shot to pieces. Okay, so this was one of my main arguments against ITP not being able to flee reaction from a charge. You're a war dancer. You're not frenzied. You should be able to, if someone is coming at you and you're taking a charge, you should be able to flee from it. It's not as if you're blood frenzy or you're stupid. You are a smart freaking elf that uses tactics. War Dancers, they will always let their arrows from the rest of their army whittle down the enemy, and while they're disrupted, they charge in and they kill. So they would be smart enough to not stand there. But yes, please do Shadow Dancer. Sorry for cutting off.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I love it. Shadow Dancer is basically the same thing. It's a beefed up War Dancer, and I think she's like 100 points or something.
Something like that.
She's just not worth it, really. So there's a magic item that's for Shadow Dancers only. I think they already have the dual weapons, and then I think it's called Blades of Loic or something.
Okay.
This special item, and it's the same thing, but you get to re-roll wounds. Now that's cool, but you think this chick would have a lot of attacks, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like you think this would be like a slice them up like 6, 7, 8 attacks.
Right.
It's not the case.
She's only going to have 4.
Yep.
Now, if
4 attacks.
she could do the killing blow thing. So if she does 4 attacks, most likely hitting on 3s, and then rerolling to wound at strength 4, fishing for that 6.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
It's not great. But
yeah, that's the problem. It's just not.
What people used to do with her is they would take her and put her into a unit of like Eternal Guard or something, because you could take her by herself and her dances would affect just her. But if she did the dance where she denied your ranks, which was really nice. Yeah, so it's like you get +3 right, or maybe up to +3 right there from fighting with your Eternal Guard or whatever, Wildwood Rangers even, against the enemy. But they got rid of that dance, so...
Now, an interesting little tidbit is the magic.
The Blessing of the Ancients thing? Or...
No, her ability to take Lore of Shadow. But, if I'm not mistaken, I'm checking it now. Yeah, it's 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
50 points to become a level 1 wizard, so she goes up to 150.
Yeah.
Pricing. Yeah, and like I said, that one magic item I was talking about, I think that's like the only one that you can realistically take. So it's, I mean, you can take others, but that's the only one that really, I don't know, does much for her. So not a whole lot of room to build her up or anything either.
Yep. And I think their counterpart for Dark Elves, like Sisters of Slaughter, are just way better. Like, they made the Sisters of Slaughter girls for Dark Elves way better than War Dancers are. That's just my opinion.
The hag queen and the hag whatever.
No. That's just witch elves. So the Sisters of Slaughter, they are the.
I was just thinking of a character version.
Oh, I don't know what the character version of the Sisters of Slaughter is. I don't know if they have one. But the Sisters of Slaughter just do what War Dancers do, but better, in my opinion. Just better.
Yeah. They have the good defensive buffs, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think that's right. Weight Watchers, my favorite. Oh god, these guys are like my favorite little buggers. Even all the way back in like 4th edition, I just love their tactics. If I could choose any humanoid creature or entity to be in Warhammer Fantasy, it would be a Weight Watcher and Athel Ren. Like,
I'm there with you, man.
You are not getting caught. You are like the Rambo of Rambos. You are the best scout, the best sniper that the world has ever seen, other than like lords and nobles that are potentially better. But you are untraceable, unseeable. You are the best scout, sniper, recon, all that good stuff. Everything all rolled into one. My favorite thing. So
I agree with you.
Awesome. Your BS 5, your initiative 5, your leadership 8. You have scouts, you have skirmishers, you have all the buffs from not being able to shoot, all that stuff. But you automatically have lethal shot now. Yes. Now you do. You automatically have killing blow from your missile attacks.
Yes.
You have forest stalkers, so you're even harder to be hit while in a forest. So you're -1. Yes. You're -1 for skirmish. You'd be -1 for being in a forest for light cover or whatever. Now you're an additional -1, so you're -3 to be hit just for without any other things. In addition, they may deploy within 12 inches of an enemy unit if they do so within a wood. So they can be 1 inch away from your face.
I've done it too many times. My friends know it's coming, so they just they won't give me the room anymore. Like if there's forests around, they just don't let me do it because I've done it too many times.
I agree, Inquisitor. They are some of my favorite. Love them. Let's see. What else?
So
I've never used traps. Go ahead.
Oh, we can move on to traps as well, but I was going to say, what arrows do you put on them? I typically go with the Swift Shiver to get as many of those Killing Blow arrows out as possible.
Oh, yeah. Well, you used to not be able to give them magic arrows and let them do their Killing Blow. You used to not be able to give them arrows at all. You used to be able to shoot two different kinds of shots. It was you could either shoot multiple shots twice or Killing Blow. But I agree. The poison, don't care about. You're really just fishing for that 6 Killing Blow. And the more shots you get, the more chances you have that. 100% Swift Shiver shards, just...
Yeah, that's typically like the automatic for me with Waystalkers.
I agree.
But as far as the traps go,
it's an upgrade? How much is it?
I keep trying to get that, it's not much, if anything. I thought it just came with them naturally. Or it might be like 10 points or something.
2 points per model. 2 points per model.
So I keep trying to get that 6. I really want a bolt thrower to be fired at a unit that it charges me, you know what I mean? But I never get it. I think I keep getting the subtract D3 inches from the charge distance when
That's
my
enemy's
still good
too.
Yeah, but they're always like right on me anyway.
Oh.
But I'll run through them if you want. So 1 and 2 is spikes. So basically, whenever an enemy...
Let me get... Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Whenever an enemy charges you while you are in woods, because that's what Waystalkers do, they be up in them woods. So you roll a die. On a 1 to 2, the enemy unit charging suffers D6 strength 3 hits. On a 3, snares, the enemy unit deducts D3 inches from the charge distance. 4 is nets. All enemy models in base contact with the Waywatchers must pass a strength test or be unable to attack in the ensuing close combat phase. Amazing. 5, camouflage pit. The enemy unit counts as moving through dangerous terrain. If the unit would already treat the forest as dangerous terrain, they instead fail a test on a 1 and 2. So yeah, if you're getting charged by some cavalry, that's awesome. Number 6, Impaler. This is what I want, man, but I can't get. Treat the unit as being hit by a bolt thrower in the front rank. The file it hits is determined by the Wood Elf player.
Oh, that's cool. So you could have it choose, like, the file with the champion in it or the character in it. Well, no, lookout sirs are, you auto pass that.
Yeah.
So what's the point of doing that?
I guess in case there's, one that has an extra rank, like...
but a regular bolt thrower always, like, if you have 3 ranks deep and then you have like a couple of a partial rank, you would hit up to 4 ranks. You would get to go through all 4. So that's weird. I wonder why would you need to determine? Anyone know? Why would you need to determine why the file
it hits?
Because you auto pass lookout sirs. Unless for some reason you're shooting it at like a unit that doesn't have the unit strength needed to be able to get lookout sir. Because I think you have to have like it's like
it'd be like super random niche, like that'd be weird for them to make that roll due to that.
That's weird. Okay. So yeah, it's 2 points per model. So it's an extra 20 points minimum. 10 points minimum, sorry.
10 points, yeah.
Which isn't bad. I mean, I like number 3.
Yeah, it's good.
That's really good, because if they fail the charge, then you just lap around them again. And I don't like how you have to pay for 2 hand weapons now, though. You didn't used to have to do that. You used to just get 2 hand weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Now you have to pay for that. That's you have to pay 2 points per model to get an extra hand weapon. Why would you ever pay... I mean, if you're hunting war machines, I guess, but like...
I really like nets. Every model having to pass a strength test or just not even be able to attack. So it's like, by models, you're going to roll a certain amount of dice, and whoever fails the strength test just can't even hit you. Unable to attack in the close combat phase.
All models.
So that can give you a little survivability. You never want your Waywatchers to get charged. It's not good. But if they do, this will help you hold them up.
Maybe. I mean, because if they have 2 ranks of stuff, then like the full second rank gets to swing normally. Because it's just units. It's just units in base contact.
Right.
I think it'd be cooler if it said units, enemy models in the forest, not just in base contact with the Wood Elves.
Yeah.
Because
That'll
maybe.
help.
I guess it depends. Thank you, Inquisitor. I agree. I think that's what it should be. Like, they don't have enough rank and files to do a lookout, sir. Way Stalker. So
Love him.
Love him. This is the character Way Watcher. I guess if I had to be... So this is who I'd want to be this guy. This is who I want to be. He goes up to BS 7, so he's hitting on zeros.
He's going to multi-shoot and still hit on 2s.
Yeah, like, woo! And he has Sniper, so he's still going to hit on 2s. Like, crazy. Strength 4, which I guess that's cool. I mean, can't go wrong with an extra strength for whatever reason. Initiative 7, but it's really his BS 7. That's amazing. Amendment 5. So he just has all the same exact rules for a Way Watcher, but he's BS 7. Now, he can take some really cool magic items.
I was just looking at him, trying to remember.
My favorite things is one of his... this might be a little gamey, but I think it works.
I took Arrows of Potency in my last game.
What's that do?
It makes all of his arrows become 2 flat damage. And with the Sniper rule, you're picking up characters with that.
That must be in the... So there's the harp. Give him a 5.
Enchanted arrows. Any shots made with the Arrows of Potency have multiple wounds too. 10-point upgrade.
What's it under?
Enchanted items.
Or are you on... Okay, so you're in the...
I'm in Battle Scribe.
Okay, so. Yeah. So that's from the expanded magic items. That's what that's from.
Okay. How about Moonstone of the Hidden Ways?
I don't like that on him.
I like that one.
I don't like that on him.
If a unit's about to charge you, and then you just say, oh, my Waystalkers are now on this side of the board.
That's true.
I think it's a good little survivability tool to keep your Waystalkers alive.
I've always liked that
your Way Watchers.
I've liked that on my Spell Weaver. Because if I put my Spell Weaver like on a mount most of the time, and I put her on in a unit of Sisters of the Thorn, so I can just like pop around casting spells. Way Watchers do it just as well too. So this is where the Spites of Athaloren. I don't know if this is right, but I think it's a little gamey. Where's the dang thing? We'll go through all these.
Pageant of Shreks?
Yeah.
I gave mine the Pageant of Shreks last
time. It's so
game.
good. So it's range 18. Strength 4, as y'all can see, it only costs 15 points. It gives you Strength 4, magical attacks, slow to fire, and sniper. But it's a shooting attack that can be used in addition to the model's other shooting attacks. I don't know, but does this mean that this Shrike gets the ability of the Waystalker? Does it get Killing Blow? Or is it because if you go to Waystalker... They may have changed the wording. Hold on.
I wouldn't think so.
So this is what it says, because it says models with the special rule have the Killing Blow special rule with their missile attacks. I don't know if the Pageant of Shrikes counts as their missile attack. Or is it like... It might be a little too much. Probably a little too much.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't even think of that. And typically, like... If I don't think of broken stuff, then like it's too broken. I'm looking for broken stuff all the time. So like if I didn't even see it, that might be a little out there. But regardless, I think it's really good because it's just more sniper attacks. Like this guy just becomes an absolute monster for your opponent's characters.
Yeah, I would say you do not get that bonus to this, but you're still BS 7 shooting it.
Right, it's a strength 4 sniper shot.
Yep. So on top of your 2 strength 3 killing blow shots
that are 2 flat damage.
Now, what is that? That must be in the... What was the 2 flat damage one? That's just the enchanted arrows, right?
Arrows of Potency. It's under enchanted items.
Okay, so that is in... I have to. It
is a magical arrow.
Yeah,
or an enchanted arrow, so you can't take that along with something else.
Well, you used to, in 8th edition, you couldn't take enchanted arrows and shoot their special killing blow shot. But they got rid of that. So now it's just all missile attacks can do that. But, okay, next. What is after Way Watchers? Wild Riders! Hey-ya! It's all you, man. You go for this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Wild Riders. So they are So like as we just said, we're going to be the Way Watcher, we're going to be the Way Stalkers. But if we weren't, Rod Riders are right there. Like Wild Riders are some cool dudes. So they're basically super fast cav. As we talked about earlier, they have Devastating Charge, Frenzy, and Forest Spirit along with their fast cav. They have movement 9. Yeah, so they have movement 9. So you're moving these dudes. You're Tokyo drifting up the board. You're going 18 inches. They'll get 3 attacks on the charge. They got Forest Spirit, so they're getting, fear, immune to psychology. They're getting that 5-up ward save.
It's really good now.
You can, I believe you can get that up to a 4-up pretty easily, somehow, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, in close combat, I guess. No.
Yeah, do they have shields?
Yeah, but you only get that parry if you're on infantry.
Yeah, not mounted, yeah. But
you have strength 5, 3 strength 5 on the charge.
Yeah, I was going to say, so your strength 4 base are going to be up to strength 5 on the charge. Mm-hmm. Now, as Blue said earlier, these guys, I don't think you could find a better unit that is the definition of glass cannon in all of Warhammer. I mean, these guys would be right there at the top. I'm sure there's others too, but these guys, they're still just toughness 3 with 1 wound. They'll die just as quickly as they'll kill stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have to pay to upgrade to give them the steed of Currenus.
Yeah, that just goes up to strength 4
for the horse.
Yeah,
but they get frenzy. The horse has frenzy too. Only if you pay for the steed. Like the regular one does not have it.
Okay.
At least if I'm not mistaken. Did they change that?
I'm not sure, but that's the big difference there. Is going strength 3 to 4. I didn't know who gets frenzy. I assumed it was the whole model unless otherwise stated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're right now. So special rule just says frenzy. So they used to only come on the steed. You never could put them on an Elven steed. You always had to put them on the Currenus steed. There was no option.
Okay.
Let me check to see if they went up in points or down in points. They were 26 points a model, but they auto came with the Currenus steed. So they'd now be 24 points with that steed, but they automatically came with light armor. So
you got to pay for that now.
Yeah, if you built them the exact same way they are in 8th edition, they did not go down a single point.
Probably understandable.
Yeah, I would pay 2 points per model to make them strength 4 because now your impact hits are strength 4.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure. The impact hits are strength 4. Those extra couple attacks you'll get are strength 4, and these guys, as we talked about when going over the lore, if you take Athelorn, these guys will probably be the biggest cannon magnet, catapult magnet. So I like making them ethereal every chance I get before they make it into combat.
I see them as like just crossbow magnets and arrow magnets.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
Small arms fire.
1 wound. Yeah.
But now that they have a 5-up ward save against non-magical attacks, they used to only have a 6-up. Now it's a 5-up, and you can give them light armor and shields, so they can have a 5-up, 5-up.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. You can make them a little bit less glassy. And still,
I like healing them and bringing them back to life.
Oh yeah, that pisses people off. They're like, got him down to like 3 or whatever. Boom, buff them back up to 5, and all you use a couple spells to get that off. Okay. Wild Riders.
Now, Sisters of the Thorn. Now, this is a unit that I questioned a bit. I was on the fence, and then I used them a few weeks ago, and I was really impressed. Go ahead and talk about them a little bit.
Okay, so in 8th edition, these were my girls, man. They're my ladies. Loved them. You get a flat 4-up ward. You get miscast protection with them. So I always put like my spell weaver inside of them. So then if they get shot at, you got like 5 4-up wards to, potentially get through depending on how many hits and allocated distribution, all that stuff. But they still have a 4-up ward. They're fast cavalry. They have javelins, and they have poison attacks. So javelins now you can... and they comes on Steed of Isha, which are just strength 4 base. So javelins now, you're still fast cavalry, so you're still marching and shooting. Now you could even charge into combat, shoot them too, but you only charge them into combat when something is super low and you know you're going to break it. But they still count as a level 2, and they have the exact same spells from 8th edition. the spells aren't as good anymore because the Curse of Honor here was busted in 8th edition. In 8th edition, I don't remember what it costs to cast, but I think it might be the same. You cast it on an enemy unit. That enemy unit is -1 to hit, period. But if they move at all, they take dangerous terrain, no matter what kind of terrain they were on. You could be walking on open ground. It doesn't matter. You're cursed. You're taking some dangerous.
Yeah,
now,
it's like what Tomb Kings now have. We talked about this. You were upset that the Wood Elves got nerfed, but the Tomb Kings did not. Yeah,
yes.
Sorry.
No, totally. Yeah, 100% right. We talked about that. So now the curse only lets the enemy take dangerous terrain on anything other than open ground. So not as good. They still suffer only D3 wounds from a miscast instead of just like rolling on the miscast table. But that was the biggest debuff I saw, was the losing the curse spell. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the reasons that I'm not like crazy about them, is just because of the spells you get. Like, if they were something a little more useful,
Shield of Thorns isn't great.
Yeah.
It's just more strength, 2d6 strength 4. That's pretty much all that is, the Shield of Thorns.
Yeah. But they were good, like, with the javelins and poison attacks and stuff. They do all right.
Yeah, they do okay. They were 26 points a model. Let's see what they are now. Just that big nerf to their that spell. Just really, because that was such a busted spell. And that was Lure of Beasts, if I'm not mistaken. Oops, wrong one. Hold on.
So how many points are we talking?
They were 26 apiece. Now they're actually moved to rare, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they moved to rare. Now they're 24 points. So they dropped 2 points, but dropping a minimum of 10 points to lose the dangerous terrain test, not worth it whatsoever.
I'd like to see these ladies at about 20 points a model. And I think they'd be very consistently in lists, but as of right now, I don't know. That's just
I agree.
I think a unit of 10 would be really cool, because then you just like Tokyo Drift, march, and throw javelins into someone's side. And the javelins, I believe they're AP1, and the poison works with them, so that's really good. And with the 5 and 6 ballistic skill, they're hitting pretty well.
I agree.
So I really like just, sliding up into someone's flank and throwing javelins into their shoulders.
And so Inquisitor took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say it, and I was like, I wonder if anyone in chat said it already. And he did, which is amazing, because they're level 2. So now you actually get 2 channel dice with them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty big. You used to only get 1 channel dice because they're just a wizard, but now you get 2 extra channels. So I still don't think that makes up for the always dangerous terrain, but at least it helps out, and they went down 2 points. So
yeah,
it's getting closer to how good they used to be, but I still think they're weaker than they're still weaker now. I still use them as a Spellweaver protection, but with the amount of firepower that comes out of armies now, it's not as good anymore. They're still beautiful. I love their models. They're freaking gorgeous. Yeah. They're gorgeous.
Them and Wild Riders. That kit. Awesome.
I agree. But if you had to choose, the problem is, especially in WAP, if you had to choose which model to build, Wild Rider every day.
Wild Riders all day.
All day.
I actually still have another box of them to build. So I have 5 Sisters of the Thorn, and I have either 10 or 15 Wild Riders.
So you need 5 more Wild Riders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I have the bits for the Sisters of the Thorn, so I'm about to just break them up and rebuild them as Wild Riders. So.
Okay. Warhawk Riders, go for it, dude.
All right, these guys, I really, really need some. I would like some, but the only models that I believe are those old metal ones. So people either convert them or use the old metal ones, but they're hard to find. I can't find them.
There's 2 kinds. So there's the older ones that were sprang up in 4th edition and lasted all the way till... I know they had them in 8th. I don't know if they had the newer ones in 7th. But it literally was from like 4th edition all the way to I think 7th, at least 7th edition, when they got the newer, prettier ones in let's say 8th edition. But the pewter ones in 8th are amazing. I have 2 new in blister, but I'm waiting for a 3rd one until I actually build them. So I want a minimum of 3 per unit. So
I've seen some conversions. I think using Lord of the Rings Eagles.
Okay.
And I really like those. And then just putting, some people use like the High Elf Shadow Warriors and some other stuff, and just there's different things people have used for the riders on top. But so these guys, they're basically your Glade Guard riding big Warhawks. They have Fly 10, Azrai Archery, of course, and Forest Strider. T3, which stinks, but basically what these guys allow you to do is fly very fast around the battlefield and unleash a bunch of arrows, and then also get into combat and actually do some work, because the Warhawks have 2 attacks base at strength 4. So
and initiative 5 too, which is like surprising for like a mount. Like
yeah, so especially if you get like an extra attack on these guys with a spell or something,
right.
if you but typically what I would look for these guys are your smaller units, or archers from the other army, things where I just know if these guys like hitting into the flank, they'll be fleeing.
Right.
But these guys are perfect for that because they're moving 20. Do they not have skirmisher? Are they not -1 to hit?
No, I think I don't think they are, because it just says cavalry. So if they're troop type cavalry, then I don't think they get skirmisher, because I think you have to be monsters cav to get skirmisher. I know Legion or someone else is probably yelling at me like, ah.
I would like to see them have the skirmish rule. I think it would make sense.
SquareHammer.
And actually, be -1 to hit.
I have to read. I deleted all my old ones. I have to re-download the rule book itself, because I didn't want all the older editions. But they were 20. Yeah, so skirmishers would. They have to be skirmishers. That would make no sense if a Warhawk Rider wasn't skirmisher.
Yeah, because they're going to be spread out. They're all going to be like pushed together. I feel like I always see them, kind of spread out a half inch.
I think they're skirmishers because I think Pegasus Knights are skirmishers too. And they're just cavalry. They're not monstrous. They have to be. If someone could confirm that, that would be amazing. But I think that's the case. But the best thing about them is they kept Fly 10. They are zooming. Like, they are outflying, 90% of all flyers now.
They're super fast.
Yeah, they're not way too fast, but they are amazingly fast. They're still in special. Where are you at, Mr.?
I would like about 10 of these guys. Right now, I have 1, so I just use him as like a Glade Lord or a Glade Captain riding a Warhawk, because I only have 1.
Okay, so, which is fine. I mean, that's cool. I'll be him as your BSB flying around, giving like an 18-inch bubble or something. That'd be cool.
I like giving him the Hail of Doom arrows, and then some other special arrows, and just getting up behind people, hitting people from behind.
So they used to be... Take them to Pound Town! Warhawk Riders used to be Monsters Cavalry, and they used to be T4 with 3 wounds. Now they're only T3 with 2 wounds, but they also dropped 20 points. Would I pay 20 points for an extra wound and extra toughness, so pretty much 10 points of wound and toughness?
Talking about the Warhawk Riders extra wound?
Yeah, they used to be...
only 1 wound before.
No. They used to be 3 wounds at toughness 4.
Oh, okay, they lost.
They lost a wound and a toughness. But they were 45 points apiece.
Ooh.
But the Warhawk Riders themselves used to also be armor piercing.
The Warhawks?
The Warhawk themselves. So it used to be strength 2, strength 4 armor piercing. So they got nerfed in terms of power, but they also dropped
how many points?
They used to be 45.
And they're now 25?
Yep.
Yeah, I think 25 points a model for these guys is like extremely reasonable. And if I had like 10 of them, they'd be in my list. Just anything that can move that fast, do damage from range, do damage to the flank charging. I think these guys are worth every one of those points.
Excellent. Thank you, Inquisitor. He said unit strength 2 or less have skirmisher, so they do have skirmisher. Which is great.
But if it was just one of them?
Well, the unit size minimum is 3.
Okay, then it wouldn't be unit strength 2 or less.
No. He's saying unit strength, like the one model itself, unit strength 2 or less has skirmisher. So the cavalry, so each Warhawk counts as unit strength 2, so you have skirmisher.
Oh.
Yeah. That's for flying units. Sorry, not just like
for flying.
Yeah, not board, not like art, like everything wide. He's like, what? Eternal Guard? Like my skeleton warriors, my tomb guard? What?
So much for skirmishing.
Yeah, no.
Okay, flying things with a unit strength of 2 or less. Okay, yeah, I knew that. That rings a bell.
But you can now give them enchanted arrows, which is very cool. You used to not be able to do that. So you can fly 20 and give them all Swift Shiver shards and just like... You're like, each one is a helicopter with a minigun just flying by and...
Doing flybys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. I love this unit. I can't say enough. If anybody has like a bunch of them that they want to give to me...
Send them to me!
Send them to me.
No. How about we divvy them up? We will divvy them up. I'm okay.
You already have... How many do you have?
2.
You only have 2? Okay.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
I need a third so I can run one unit.
I thought you were sitting on a stash over there, just like hoarding like this box of...
That's other models, but not Wood Elves. I have everything. I have some stuff that need to get painted for them, like 10 more Wild Riders. I like the old pewter ones. Those are mine. I like those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right. What's
Altars.
next? What's next? Altars? Okay, here are the altars. Yeah, I was mistaken before. So here are the altars.
My buddy hit me up and said, hey, man, you should check out the altars. And I was like, what the hell are altars? Like, I didn't even know. I looked them up. 6th edition. Go ahead and talk about them a bit, because I don't really know much.
So in 6th edition, you used to be able to make characters altars. There weren't like Form of the Bear and Form of the Wolf. They were specific... God, I should go get my book. I wish I could remember them all, honestly. I can picture... Oh, well. But now, they have Skirmisher, which is cool. They're not ITP, so they can flee from a charge reaction if they want to. They're pretty much druids. It's just a whole bunch of druids that can shapeshift. And obviously, think of D&D that if you're shapeshifting, you get bonuses to your stats per the animal that you shapeshift into. So, Form of the Bear... The unit gains +1 movement, +2 strength, +1 toughness, -2 initiative, +2 attacks. That's really good.
I'm assuming these guys, you don't actually need to have a bunch of different models for these guys. What are the models?
What I would probably use is what are the Arch Revenants from Age of Sigmar, where they're like half tree, half half tree, half elf.
Arch Revenant was the character that we went over earlier.
Spirit Revenants?
Yeah, Tree Revenants.
Tree Revenants. Okay, so
there's 2 different kinds.
Okay. I don't know what they are. I would do a mix of them because if you're shape shifting, then it would be fine to have like some look different. But as long as they're on the same size base, you don't have to like if you shift to the bear, you don't have to put down like 5 or 10 bear models.
Yeah.
I have not used them in the game. They're one of those things where it sounds very cool. It gives you a lot of customization. But I've never used them, so I can't, it doesn't say, I hate how
It's never enticed me enough to use them.
Well, I hate how they have the same thing that the War Dancers have, where you can't choose the same form in 2 consecutive combats. Like, why can't you stay in bear form through the combat?
Right.
Why do you have to switch? Like, I guess people would, at that point, you would always just stay in the same form when you're in combat. But
yeah, that might have been what he was going at, thinking that there would be like an obvious clear choice, and then people would just do it all the time, and it would kind of lose the whole...
Well, this is what I would say. I would say make the forms not as swingy either way, but then... have the same thing what Ushabti have, where you just get like the flat bonus, but you do the same thing with them because it's the same way with the War Dancers. You don't want to have you need this form for 2 combats in a row, or you lose the combat flat out. But that's why I like the Ushabti stuff, where it's just like flat. This is what you get. The whole unit gets that bonus. I would rather see that with these guys because it makes them. It's not too random because you get to choose. But it makes that choice so pivotal. When do you get to choose this? Is it the start of your turns? So it's not bad, because at the start of your turn, you can choose the Form of the Wolf. So, so you become Movement 9, which is amazing. and then you can charge into something. But then you're stuck at movement 9 with +1 attack, devastating charge, and swift stride, which is really good. But then if you're charging something where you need it to be the form of the bear or like the boar for the toughness, you're going to fight one combat where you're not that. You're going to fight one combat where you are the form of the wolf. So it's cool. I think that's one of those things where if you're really good at using them, they will be amazing. I don't know what kind of saves they have, though. I think just force, not even force spirit. It's just, you don't even, I don't even see if you get an armor save. I assume they're special.
Just an animal, so they don't have armor.
Yeah, they just rely on their toughness, which is so amazing. Are they rare? Oh, where are you? Great Eagles, Sisters, Way Watchers, Sprite, Tree, War Altars. Yeah, you have no armor save. You're just toughness 3 with no armor save.
Nice.
Like, you're not even a forest spirit.
Yeah, on that note,
sucks.
Let's move on to the next unit.
Yeah, that's really bad. You get shot to pieces. Jeez.
Meadow chariots. I don't think I've ever seen a meadow chariot. What the hell is a meadow chariot?
They are, the last time I saw a Wood Elf chariot, I think, is 3rd edition, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah. Because if you, you can talk, it's just a chariot. Strength 5 chariot. Strength 5 chariot is really good. Like, that's pretty good for a Wood Elf.
4 wounds, so normal stuff as usual. 8-inch movement, pretty normal. It's not even like it's a super fast chariot or anything. It's just normal chariot.
Ooh. Well, no, it's movement 9 normally, but now they put an 8 there because it's already the -1. So It's a pretty fast chariot. It's a high elf chariot speed.
Yeah.
Are they special? I'm assuming those are special.
Yeah. I would hope they're not rare. I mean, they are rare. They are 100% rare.
Yeah, they're special. 70 points. That's not bad, because I think the cold one chariot might be T5 with 4 wounds, but it also has like a 3-up armor save. But I think
it's probably 100 points.
I think it's 100 points, and you don't suffer from stupidity. So
yeah,
that's not bad. I mean, you can march 16 inches, and there's two charioteers, so like, it's too bad they can't take magical arrows. Wait, you can take 2 extra charioteers for 10 points? That's really good. For 80 points?
Well,
what?
So how many come with it base, 2?
Yeah.
So what do you have, 4 charioteers?
That's probably why you can't give them arrows, because then you could be marching and shooting 8 shots.
Now, if you could give them arrows, then I would go ahead and kit bash me some meadow chariots. But you can't.
And you give them 2 extra steeds, too. Why would you do that? What'd you say, Inquisitor? What you talking about?
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about? That's actually changing. The wording is wrong. All flying units are going to be skirmishing. Only U.S. strength of 2 will keep the -1 to hit. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm cool with that. You could always make a Stag Lord with choosing the lance +1 attack element. True. That would be nasty. Maybe use a War Machine in Horde Circle Ogre's model. I don't know the Hordes model. I used to play War Machine all the time. I don't know that model, though.
I've never played War Machine.
It was fun. Actually, it was good back in the day. Inquisitor, I agree. 80 points gives you 4 bows and 4 spears. So if you don't move, you're 8 extra shots. And you're T4 with 4 wounds. And you have, a 5-up save? Not amazing, but it's pretty good for a Wood Elf Archer. Just a Wood Elf, 5-up's not bad. But you could even take, for 90 points, you get 2 extra steeds. So that's more impact hits. But then you probably, you're getting Cetra size at that point.
Right.
Okay, what's next? So it's not bad. Not
Dryads. We're on to the fire spirit, boys.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to start at Dryads. Dryads are your basic unit. They're the little tree boys, infantry-sized trees. I forget exactly where they were at in 8th edition in terms of what has changed.
T4. They were T4.
I like them now. I don't know if they got nerfed, but they're pretty solid now. Getting the 5-up ward save is always good. Hatred, so you're re-rolling attack rolls.
Yeah, yep.
But strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, weapon skill 4, movement 5, They do get 2 attacks base, so that's solid. But then you take or you pick a tree aspect at the beginning of each round of close combat.
It's just this thing again, switching aspects. Yep, can't choose the same one.
You can either get +1 attack, +1 toughness, or make the other unit -1 to hit. Now, with their 4 weapon skill, I think that one's actually pretty good, because if you're going against, just kind of other infantry from other armies, a lot of times you're going to have weapon skill 3 or 4, so making the opponent hit you on 5s, I think, is really strong.
But it's only enemies of base contact, so the second rank gets to swing and hit you at no minus.
Yeah. But yeah, toughness +1. I wish they still had toughness 3. I think I actually mistook that in my last game. I was like, I think they're T4, and I went and I was like, oh damn, no.
Yeah, they switched T4 to be able to give them the aspects, more shape-shifting stuff. It's just another thing where it's more having to choose a dance or a shape-shifting form again, but you can't choose the same one twice. I wish you could just take like a unit and just say they're all birch, or they're all oak, or they're all willow, and you have to...
Did they not used to have stubborn? Am I making that up?
They don't have stubborn now.
I know they don't now.
No, they didn't either back then.
Okay, for some reason I was thinking they had stubborn at one point.
No, you're thinking of the treekin.
Yeah.
They used to not have stubborn, but they do now.
Yeah, those are solid too.
Yeah,
but anyway, so the Dryads are good. The problem is you can't really do a whole lot to buff them up.
But you give them ethereal. You can put a shadow dancer in there to give them dances. Trying to look to see how many points they are now.
They're reasonable.
So they used to be 12, if I'm not mistaken. 11. They used to be 11 points. You get fear, force, spirit, and hatred. But now, core. They're 12 points. So they went up a point. You can give them skirmishers again, because in 8th edition they lost skirmisher. And it's free to give them skirmishers. So having hatred, the aspects, a 5-up ward, and skirmishers, that's worth looking at. It makes I agree.
They can get 3 attacks apiece, re-rolling hit rolls. Potentially 4 attacks apiece, re-rolling hit rolls.
But it is just strength 3. It's just strength 3 if you do that.
Yeah. I mean, these guys aren't going to chew anything up that's really valuable, but they will. I think going into other people's like core infantry from other armies, outside of like elves or something, you're going to chew up a lot of empire and random stuff.
So they are ITP. So even though they're skirmishers, they can't flee. Because you could easily set up some nice counter charges if you could flee with them, but since they're ITP, you cannot flee. That would be nice.
Well, next we have the branch wraiths. So it's literally a dryad that can cast magic.
Is that automatic now? You used to have to... No, that was automatic, wasn't it, back then?
I think it was. I think it is.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, no. Maybe upgraded to level 1 wizard, 50 points. I could have sworn they were always...
In 8th edition they were. You have to pay for that now?
Yeah.
What?
They're 95 points base, and maybe upgraded to a level 1 wizard for 50 points. Why would you pay 95 points for a branch wraith? I thought their whole deal was magic.
Wow. They used to be 75 points, and you were just flat a level 1 wizard.
That's a questionable decision.
Yeah,
that's decision.
Yikes. So they went up 20 points, and then you have to pay another 50?
They're not they're not
awful.
Good at combat. They're not like some kind of blender or anything. They have 3 attacks at strength 4. And then they basically have the same rules as the dryads. They have forest spirit, hatred, and the tree aspect rule. They also have blessing of the ancients. But so they're literally a dryad with 1 more attack and strength toughness 4, and you're paying 95 points for that.
Matthias, what are you doing to me, buddy? What are you doing to my wood elves? My precious wood elves. That's terrible.
I always thought that branch wraiths were just magic users.
They used to be. 8th edition.
That might be an oversight. We'll have to bring it up.
No, because it's... They have nothing changed about their stats. But they cost 20 points more and then have
Don't
to
have
pay.
magic. That's what I'm saying. I think it's an oversight. Call your boy.
Matthias, you're going to get a PM from me. Yeah, that's really bad. But they have Blessing of the Ancients. Isn't that +1 to cast if you're within 6 inches of a forest?
Yep.
Okay, weird. But they can take Spites now, which are at least cool. You can take some of the, like the
Yeah,
luminescent.
that's the only thing you can take, right?
Yeah, you can't take regular.
Items.
Right. Yeah, that level 1 wizard thing should go away. Like, they should just be a level 1 wizard, because you wouldn't take these guys are... Nah. Skip them, they suck. I will say they suck. That sucks.
Well, speaking of sucking, cool cool models, but...
and beaten off.
But the Tree Revenants and the Spite Revenants, they're AOS models that they brought over. Not a huge fan. They don't really do a whole lot. The Spirit Walk is cool for Tree Revenants. They can basically jump from forest to forest.
Okay. Which is cool if you're summoning forests all around.
Yeah. They reroll 1s to hit and wound. I guess these guys actually aren't that bad. 2 attacks apiece. Still just strength and toughness 3 though.
What weapon do they have though? It looks like that guy's carrying like a big freaking 2-handed thing. Let's see. What are they called again? Tree Revenant?
Tree Revenant.
I'm sure they're special. Mr. Tree Revenant. It's just a hand weapon? Oh, you give them pole arms, so you can be strength 4, rerolling 1s to hit and wound.
Yeah.
That's not bad. And you have a 5-up ward.
What kind of points are we looking at?
14 apiece. Can you give
Oh, yeah, Homeboy can go in this unit. The Arch Revenant?
Yeah, so then they could have Frenzy. 3 attacks, strength 4, rerolling 1s to hit and wound, at weapon skill 5, initiative 5. 6 on the charge.
Statement retracted.
Yeah.
I like the Arch Revenant in a unit of Tree Revenants, popping from tree to tree all nimbly bimbly. And, drinking from a saucer.
Yeah.
And,
because you don't even need them.
I think they're pretty good.
You don't even need the Moonstone. You're just...
Right.
So, do they get... They don't get dodge. Okay, so they just have the 5-up. They just have the 5-up. What's Martial Memories? That's the reroll 1s to hit and wound, and then Spirit Walk is the hopping trees.
Yep.
Okay. That's not bad. 14 points is a little expensive, but if you put the right Arch Revenant in there, and they can take a standard bear, but they can't take a magic standard.
Huh.
I feel like they should be able to take a magic standard. They're special. It's a special unit.
Okay, the next unit I think are the ones I was thinking of. They're basically the same, Spite Revenants, but instead they just re-roll. They have hatred that just is permanent.
Eternal hatred?
Well, it's called Unbridled Malice. It's just their special rule. Also forces enemies in base combat with them to re-roll successful leadership tests. But just the same profile as the other ones, but they can't jump from tree to tree, and they
probably can't
just
take
reroll all hits. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think these guys just have scratchy hands. They don't have weapons.
They're dryads, but they're elves that are slowly converting to dryads. It seems like. Yeah, they're only 13 points apiece. What you saying, Inquisitor? Part of the Tree Revenants unit can be out the forest also. Only the center has to be in the forest. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why you'd ever take the Spite ones.
How many points are the Tree Revenants?
They are skirmishers. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's probably why. They're 14. So the Tree Revenants, you'd pay 16 points because you would take the polearm.
Yeah, I think I'm about to get a unit of 20 of those suckers with the Arch Revenant. That's really good for 13 points?
No. The Tree Revenant is 14 base, and it's two more points for polearms. And you can take full command.
Yeah, I like that. I like, so we're looking at 16 points model.
Yeah, it's weird that it's unit strength, or unit size 5 base.
3 attacks apiece, strength 4, weapon skill 5.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and the whole jumping from tree to tree and re-rolling all
Once to
hits
hit
and wounds of 1.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's not bad. And you can buff them with some spells. Like, if you did Lore of Life instead of Ethel-Loren, you could easily make them like toughness 7 or...
You know what I like? I like putting, I like jumping to a tree that's in your enemy's deployment zone, and then using the, number 6, whatever it is, random movement
Fury
with
of
an
the
extra
Forest?
attack.
No, I can't remember.
So then they're getting 4 attacks apiece.
Mm.
4 attacks apiece, and just walking into someone's flank behind, or, their backside.
Yeah, even just to the flank. Even just to the flank. Like, Initiative 6 with 4 attacks apiece, weapon skill 5, rerolling 1. Don't get me wrong, that's a lot to combo that, and it's going to be an expensive unit, especially if you have 20 of them. But
I mean, I just think 20 might be a bit much, but I think
15.
10 if your opponent knows that you can jump around, that's just you're playing games with them. You know what I mean? They're like, damn, these dudes could just like pop out behind me in these woods at any time.
Yeah.
I think that's super powerful to just have dudes teleporting.
So if let's say you have 10 of them, and let's say you get off that spell, so you have 40, 45, not including the character. What am I saying? 45? No, that's right. Yeah, because you have 4 times 5, that's 20, and then you have 25 attacks, most likely hitting on 3s. So you're gonna get what? So you're gonna get like 16 hits, and then you reroll the other 8 or 9. Or no, you're only gonna reroll 2 because you're not always strike first. So you're gonna get, let's say, 18 hits, about 18 hits, and then
should be at least 18 hits.
Yeah, and then you're gonna be strength 4, so you're gonna be rolling, let's say, against toughness 4. So you get 9 wounds, and then 2 of them, maybe 3 of them are 1s, so 9. Let's say you get 10 or 11 wounds at strength 4.
And that's just for 5 of them, right?
That's for the 5 up front, and then the 5 in the back.
Oh.
Because it's 5 guys up front, 4 attacks apiece, so that's 20 attacks. With the champion, it's 21. So you'd have 26 attacks. That's if you're not running the... no, you have to run that character. So, yeah, that's easy to say. That's pretty good. Like, you can do a lot of damage, but not against a high armor save unit.
No. Yeah, this is a harassment unit that I think actually packs a punch. Yeah. Some units are like harassment units, and that basically just means they're not good enough to be like to take something head on. I think these guys are a good harassing unit that can also pack a punch.
Well, let me ask you this: why would you take this unit over a unit of Wild Riders?
I wouldn't. What are we talking
about here?
No, this is a unit that I just like being able to pop up like in forests somewhere. I think that's super powerful, especially if you have some forests or at least 1 or 2 like in your opponent's deployment zone. I think that's super good.
Yeah, I still think Wild Riders are just better overall.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like, why not both?
You could take a unit of both or 2 units of both.
Yeah, I like 2 units of both.
What's up,
I like
Josh?
2 units of Wild Riders and 1 unit of True Revenants.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that, buddy.
Okay, yeah, Spite Revenants, we don't see anybody taking them. Sylvan Hunters, I love these models. This is what Treekin should be. I loved it in AOS. I was so glad to see it come over to the fantasy book. These guys are just super cool. Love their great bows. Man.
They were really strong in AOS, I know, when they first came out.
Yeah. Very strong. And I mean, those weapons, so I think you get a sword or you can trade it out for a glaive. But they have 3 attacks apiece base.
They're Treekin, basically.
They're basically they're Ushabti. They're Ushabti with a higher initiative and higher weapon skill. Great bow is a long bow, 36 inches, strength 5, with a magic attack special rule, so that's good. But here's where these guys I think get really good.
Okay.
Is the Tanglethorn Thicket.
The thicket.
So if you give these guys bows and then you just do this every turn, you're just in hard cover all the time. So these guys just sit in the back and probably can't be hit, or it's very hard to hit them.
It's like
they're just unleashing those. Yeah, -2. I think if you have 6 of them and you're firing off, 12 strength 5 shots every turn.
Well, no, it's... Oh, yeah, it's just a longbow, and a longbow can shoot multi-shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
good.
really good. But also just the weapons attacking, they're pretty good. They have a bunch of attacks.
So they have a 5-up natural armor save and then a 5-up ward save, unless it's magical, so it's a 6-up. They're pretty much treekin stats, except a treekin is toughness 5.
They take weapons.
Yeah, and that's I think a treekin is weapon skill 4. Yeah, treekin weapon skill 4. But you do lose stubborn and 1 armor save. So you pretty much trade everything for the bow. It's pretty much what you traded for.
Oh, the weapons in general. Yeah,
the weapons in general.
Because you get the what weapons do they get? I think you can take like a.
I think it's just like a halberd. I'm sure it's just like a halberd polearm.
Halberd, so +1 strength and stuff.
If I can find them. There they are.
Yeah, where you go?
Yeah, polearm, and they can do that for free.
Yeah, you can take any of the weapon options for free.
So they come with a great weapon, which is not bad.
Strength 6.
Yeah, which isn't bad, but I would probably do pole arms. If I had to take a close combat weapon, I'd do a pole arm over a great weapon, just from the always the strength bonus and no initiative penalty. But the great bows for free, that's pretty good, honestly.
I think what I would do is just great bows. Because then even if things are hitting the fan, you can still just attack. Because you're still strength 4. So you're shooting strength 4 with an AP, so you're not going to kill anything big, but they'll still get a bunch of attacks and stuff. So I think you go great bows, and then if they get into combat, so be it.
That's just such a buff to your already amazing shooting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a psi archery, so if they do move, you're going to be -1 for moving and shooting. But that's why you just sit there and you do the thicket thing.
Yep.
But the fact that you can shoot, if you take a unit of, let's say you take a unit of 3, you're shooting 6 strength 5 bows. That's just, since Wood Elves already have a problem going through armor or high toughness.
I was going to say, you're picking off cav like Bretonia, you're picking them up.
Or you're shooting monsters, because Wood Elves they used to use poison attack for monsters, but now poison, mathematically the arrows aren't as good, because you didn't even have to reroll a wound. It was just if you rolled a 6, you just get a wound. But strength 5 bows at range 36 inches, they are your artillery.
Right.
Wood Elves never had anything like that. They are your artillery now. That's incredible.
And the models are some of the coolest in this entire book. I love those models.
Man.
They're what Treekin always should have been.
Well, yeah, okay. Man, I don't want to have to buy them now. That's really good. It's really good. And Monstrous Infantry, so they're still T4, 3 wounds apiece, 4 attacks, or 3 attacks. Yep. It's really good. All right, to Treekin. I'll talk about Treekin.
Hey man, go ahead and talk about Treekin. I'm gonna hit the bathroom. Give me a minute. But don't let me stop you. Keep going.
Okay, all right, we'll do. So, what's up, guys? This is Blues Podcast. How are you going? Okay, how are you doing? Whatever. Treekin. Same stats as 8th edition. Exact same stats as 8th edition, except they gain Stubborn. As you will know from most of my bat reports, I do love a couple Stubborn units with Wood Elves, because it lets you throw the Stubborn unit into whatever unit will crush your Wood Elves, and everything else is just maneuvering around, outflanking, distractions, all that stuff. So, and you're just peppering them apart while your Treekin are trying to hold the line. Or I guess in 8th edition, it was pretty much just, I used Eternal Guard and Treeman. But now you can use Treekin. And I always used to run Treekin, so now I just get another unit that I used to always run, gain Stubborn, and a better word save. So, what's not to like about the Treekin? Yeah, the model is a little janky. It just looks like sticks and some gnarled wood. But they do have some cool sprites, climbing on them and little fairy-looking things that are either hugging onto them and stuff. And if you paint them a different color, as mine are, they stand out and they make the model pop pretty well. But yeah, they're just very, just twigs. You could just literally go outside, assemble some twigs, and you have Treekin. Now the big fella, Treemen. Love these fellas. The older models are cool too. what I like to do, I like to use the old pewter ones or fine cast if at that point as my standard ones, and then like to use the newer one as either an ancient or the model that's right here or the picture that's right here as the ancient or Durathu himself. I think one of my first models was the old one, old Durathu, where his arm was like literally just back here about to do a tree whack. So, and I think they went down in points. Treekin actually, hold on, let's see. Before I advance to them, Treekin were 45 points a model. Now, they are 50 points a model. So they actually went up for 5 points, but they got stubborn. And I will take that all freaking day. 5 points for stubborn per model, for sure. I hear you. I heard that door. I know you're back. Tree Man. Just started Tree Man. Oh, you can't hear me yet.
Hey!
Welcome back. Welcome back to the vlog. We're talking about Tree Men now.
Ooh.
So they're 215 points, and you can pay 20 points for Strangle Roots. They used to be 225 points, so they went down 10 points, and they're pretty much the exact same, if I am doing this correctly. Yep, so the exact same points. Strangle Roots is still the same. I still love to take one of them. I love Tree Men. It's just you have a stubborn 9 monster. Not many monsters are stubborn. Or BS6.
If anyone has talked Warhammer Fantasy with me, they will know I'm allergic to big targets, and every time I bring one, they get one-shotted. I mean, every time they get one-shotted because I don't know how it happens. Yep, every time I will fail a save, and then I know they will roll a 6.
Well, at least
every
now
time.
you have a 5-up ward versus it.
Yep, and I'll fail it.
Well,
it so happens that the couple people down here in the Outer Banks, they play Empire, they play Dwarves, they play Britannia, and always bring trebuchets. It's my monsters never make it into combat ever.
Well, that saddens me. But now, if you hide them behind a tree that's big enough, a forest that's big enough, they can't shoot through it. Inquisitor, you said that sounds more like that doesn't sound like a problem to me. That sounds like a blessing. What he said was the old pewter model is if you throw it at someone, you might go to jail for homicide. And that sounds like a blessing to me. Blessing of the ancients.
The Casket of Souls will do that.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is like 40 pounds in this little thing.
A steam tank. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that too.
So I like the Tree Man. I think being stubborn is amazing. I still like Tree Whack. I think it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. You take an initiative check. If you fail, you just take D6 wounds with no armor save. I tried it against Bob when I played his vampire counts. I did it. I could have attacked him normally and killed him after because we did 3 rounds of combat, 4 rounds maybe. But it was just awesome to see if just whacking the crap out of that.
Oh yeah,
Terrorgeist, I think. But against a low initiative thing, it's amazing to do because it's one enemy model on base contact. So if you're fighting an ogre character or some other big nasty that has low initiative, it's just you have initiative 2, cool. Roll a 2 or less, or you take D6 wounds. The Strangle Roots is still good. What's up?
Do you ever take the Ancient? Or just always regular Treeman?
I don't usually take the Ancient because it's not that it's bad, and I think your leadership... Are you leadership 10? You're leadership 10, and you have an 18-inch leadership bubble. General's Inspiration or Inspiring Presence, which is really freaking good. You're 6 wounds, so the chance you get one-shot by a cannon is 17% if he even rolls to wound you and you fail your save, all that good stuff. But I just don't like getting sucked into the warp, and you're just to get an ancient higher in level. I don't like to build a super high cost wizard because you can get sucked into the warp even easier in WAP than you could in 8th edition. So yeah. I don't like putting more eggs in.
Didn't you do that against me when we played?
Yeah, I had a demon
chaos boy.
I had a demon prince, and I rolled 3 dice for a spell, and I got sucked into the warp because I just kept rolling 6s.
How many points was he? He was a bunch.
He wasn't. He was like. Well, we were playing 2,000 points, so he couldn't have been over 500. Like, he wasn't
Yeah, I think
over
you
that.
said he was about 400.
He was
That's
at
a
least
lot.
400. It's a lot to get sucked into the work because, like, that I lost that flank, and that just changed the entire game. Like, I was doing well, but just the fact that I lost 400 points, my general, all my casting abilities.
You literally lost a quarter of your list without me doing anything.
Yep. So it's not fun to happen. But yeah, so no, I don't usually take an Ancient, but I still love Strangle Roots. I still love being able to move. I think they lost a movement. I think they used to be movement 6. No, they were movement 5. I still like Strangle Roots because you can move, shoot it. Even you can charge into combat because it's quick to fire. So you can charge into combat, shoot D6 plus 1, strength 5 shots, or if you get charged, you can stand and shoot with D6.
Yeah, Strangle Roots are definitely good. They're like a easy decision. What's it, 10, 15 points?
20. It's 20.
Still worth it.
Yeah. I don't really like the Treeman Ancient. It's really nice to have a really hard killable character as a Wood Elf because you have a 3-up armor save and a 5-up ward flat, and you can take some cool spites with them. But yeah, they're still stubborn, so like you can run him forward, get him stuck into combat, and then just like keep casting spells, healing yourself while you're doing it, especially with Athaloran. So there are some cool things to do with it, and if you're going to run a forest army, like a Spore Spirit army, it's much better than it was in 8th edition.
Well, isn't, if I'm not mistaken, Dirthu's like the same amount of points as a Treeman Ancient, and I think he's just better?
Yeah.
If that's what I remember.
Right. I'm sure it's the same now.
So if you go Treeman Ancient, Dirthu would be a good choice.
Yeah, but I think he's only level 1.
Yeah, and it's Lure of the Beast. I think he's got the Amber Spear, I believe.
He's just a level 1 wizard, so you can't even take Amber Spear.
I think, Lure of the Beast. I'm pretty sure you can take it.
No. He's only level 1. I think the spear, Amber Spear, is like level 3. You might be right.
Yeah.
You might be right. I have to recheck that.
It's a nice spell to have for him.
But a Treeman Ancient, hold on, is 250, and you can make him up to level 3 for 85 points. So what's that? 315 points? Or sorry, 335. Treeman Ancient used to be 290, and you can make him level 4 for 70. So he used to be 350 points, and you'd have him as a level 4. Now, you can only make him a level 3, 35. So he'd be 335. So he's 15 points cheaper as a level 3 than what you could do in 8th to make him level 4.
Right.
But there were no spites in 8th edition, which was kind of crappy. It wasn't a lot of customization, but now you can do some cool stuff with them. Why is an Ancient less weapon skill than a normal one? Because he is much older and slower. So he doesn't have, he's like tougher because his shell has, his bark has hardened. I think that's why he's weapon skill or 6 wounds instead of 5. But he's been focused more on herding the forest. Herding. H-E-R-D, not H-U-R-T. Herding the forest in the sprites and all that other stuff instead of like attacking what a regular Treeman Ancient would do. Treeman Ancient is more offense while a regular Treeman is more offense while an Ancient is more of a, don't get me wrong, he can do some damage, weapon skill 4,
support character.
Strength 5, but yeah, he's more of a support character. He can still dish out a lot of punishment, but they had to like lower his weapon skill. I'm trying to think if there's another character or unit that its weapon skill is lowered, but is also a wizard. It's like, think of a Chaos Lord and a Chaos Sorcerer. It's like they've put more time in one thing than the other. So Chaos Lords obviously put more time in physical abilities, while Sorcerer Lord, I think is what they are putting more time into their studies and casting spells. So their combat as suffers. But still toughness 6, big old tree man.
Oh yeah.
Great Eagles.
They're Eagles.
Fly 9, still really good. Not Fly 10 anymore. You can give them Swift Sense and Shredding Talons, which you could in 8th edition.
Yep. Strength 4 with the extra AP, so you got AP 2 going through. 3 attack space. Pretty good.
Not as good as what, thank you, Inquisitor. Amber Spear, Pan's Impenetrable Belt, and Flock of Doom. Those are the ones you choose. Great Eagle's not as good anymore. Lost one fly, and you can't redirect units.
Want to jump down to Forest Dragon?
Yeah, we all know steeds. With their, like, leaf armor.
Right.
You skipping Great Stags?
Yeah, I figure everyone knows what they are, unless you want to touch on them.
I think they stayed the same. Got Impact Hits D3, pretty much the same. Unicorns, obviously the beautiful unicorn. The majestic unicorn. MR2, pretty much the same from 8th edition. Yes, Forest Dragons, what you got, man?
Alright, so I don't know if they changed it all, but they're Fly 7. So that was with the recent change. They're gone 7 inches. Fire Spirit, so they're getting that nice 5 upward. Natural Armor 3 up. That's always good in a Dragoner. Some dragons don't even get an armor save, so that's really good. Strength and Toughness 6, 6 wounds, all good. 5 attacks, Weapon Skill 6. Pretty good overall. As a Strength 2 breath weapon, which armor saves cannot be, or no, they suffer a -3 penalty. So AP 3.
Yeah.
All models, and if you get hit, you get the stupidity rule for the remainder of the game. That's sneaky powerful.
Yes. You won't do as much damage because you're strength 2, but it's good for still knights, like Empire Knights, because you're only winning on 5s, but the 1-up goes to a 4-up. But that's stupidity. You hit multiple units with that breath weapon as much as possible.
So I have an extra Dark Elf Black Dragon still in the box.
Okay.
What do you think if I were to take that and paint it green? Do you think it would make a good Forest Dragon? I was thinking it would.
My inner nerd and collector is saying, how dare you, sir? But I think if you convert it up a little bit, like put some, instead of horns, you get some antlers off like some of other units or something. Yeah, I think that would look amazing. I think that would look really cool.
Good with like the Wild Rider horns.
Exactly.
Thorn.
Yep.
There's, yeah.
I think that would look very
converted a little bit. It would look pretty solid, just all green, you know? Because it's got a cool pose. It's like going up.
Yeah, I used to have the old metal one when I was a kid, but I sold that 20 years ago, I guess. No, but yeah, that would look sweet. I think the Black Dragon would look sweet, and I don't know what you would do for a rider. Because I think you can take a Forest Dragon without like a lore rider. Yeah, you can just take a Forest Dragon. Another
thing that I want to do that kind of segues into it. So, Nasra and Arahan or whatever, the named characters.
Yeah.
So
the sisters, the twin sisters.
Yeah, Sisters of Twilight. They're actually pretty damn good.
Very good.
And you can put them on a Forest Dragon. Now, I'd just probably put them on that Hawk more often than not, because I think that gives them some cool bonuses.
That used to be the move.
But they can go on a dragon as well. That was, I don't know if you want to, it's really the only one I can, they have a ton of named characters.
Yeah. Did Dorothy drop to weapon skill 6? He was weapon skill 7, didn't he?
He is weapon skill 6, yep.
He did drop.
Ballistic skill 6, strength 6, toughness 6, 6 wounds. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Yeah, and he takes Lord of the Beast all the time, yeah, so. But he does have Frenzy and Hatred, Stubborn, Tree Whack. He's got basically all the rules.
What's up, Brad?
So he's pretty solid.
Tookie call. Is that something? Should I get that reference? I don't get it.
I don't know what that means.
Tookie call. Brad is actually, he's in Arizona. He actually has done some painting for me. He actually is painting some of my Cult of Uruk right now. But I don't know what the Tookie call is. Yo, weirdo.
So yeah, just scrolling down some of the named characters. Dirthu, I think, is really good. If you wanted to take a Tree Man, he's solid. I think he's like 340 points.
I'm sure Orion still sucks. I'm sure he's still bad.
He's just cost like 500 points or something.
Well, he used to have like no save. Like he used to be really bad.
But Nastra and Arahan, I think, are only like 240 or something.
Yeah, so that was the character that most people would always take, is you would take the sisters and you'd put them on the Great Eagle, because you wouldn't, it's like, I think they healed up to full wounds unless you killed them both. Yeah. So, like, you couldn't, it was really hard to kill both of them.
If it's
And
been reduced to less than 4 wounds at the end of any turn, they will be restored to 4 wounds.
they still have that? Ah, those are
Yep.
so good.
And if they're on the Eagle, they reroll all failed to hit rolls. One has the big D6 damage, Strength 5, Armor Piercing
like
1 weapon.
Other one has like a small blast, right?
And then the other one has 2d6 multiple shots, poison, armor piercing 1. So you have these chicks slinging out these ridiculous shots. And like I said, I think it's like 240 points or something. Like, they are crazy good. And I'm about to kit bash them and make that a thing, make that happen.
Range 30, strength 5, armor piercing. So you're pretty much shooting a bolt thrower. No, you're shooting a Sylvan Hunter shot. But
That does D6 damage.
Yeah, what the crap? And you're BS6?
Yeah, and you reroll all failed hit rolls.
Wait, what?
Reroll all failed hit rolls.
That's when you're on the Eagle?
Yeah, Gwendolyn.
Okay, so if you're on Gwendolyn, you only have 4 wounds, though.
You have
4 wounds.
4 wounds.
Okay,
and
so
if you ever go below that, then you go back up to it.
In 8th edition, it's where you could kill the rider on top of the mount. Now you can't. So in 8th edition, you'd have 2 wounds, and then Gwendolyn.
Okay.
So,
right.
like, if you got hit with a cannon or something, they'd have to roll to wound both, and then you'd have to fail saves and all that stuff. So I guess it's easier to kill her now. But still, like, the fact that that's disgusting.
Wait a second.
And you get +1 to wound against Forces of Destruction.
275 points.
Yeah.
That is crazy good.
Is that...
on the Dragon, it goes up to 495. 275 points for the offensive power house that is that data sheet.
Right.
That is crazy good.
Data sheets is Age of Sigmar. But that's okay.
It's everything.
No.
I thought.
No.
I call 40K.
Or maybe that's 40K. I think that's 40K.
What would you call it?
Unit entry. I don't know. There was no like, but it's the same points in 8th edition. She was 275 points.
Okay.
And Gwendolyn actually gained a wound. Probably because it's a combined profile now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're super good. You have a bunch of other named characters. I think some of them are probably good, but it's just there's a lot. I don't know if you have any specific ones you want to shout out.
Hold on. He said, and you regain wounds if you shoot and kill something? Where is that? Where do you gain that? Hold on, I'm looking for that. Natural, that's on there.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I don't see that. The Talon of Dawn. So if you cause 1 or more unsaved wounds, you regain a wound. That's really good.
Yeah.
You're regaining wounds in your shooting phase. Wait,
you're regaining them anyway. If it left the last turn and you were below 4, you're going back up to 4 anyway.
On if Nestor's nature has been resolved, there's less than 4 wounds at the end of any turn. So when would that come into account?
Never.
Yeah, unless they somehow took a wound on their turn.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? What's the point of that ability? I don't know what's the point of that.
Nope. I don't think there's a point.
Either way, still an amazing unit that's dishing out a lot of damage.
Yeah, crazy good. I would say that is the main named character.
Oh yeah, and you can shoot at 2 different targets. So.
Yeah, and those weapons, it's so good. Just being able to take out small things, take out big things.
They don't have. Wow, I just forgot her name.
Drencher?
No. How did I forget her name? I have her model. Oh my gosh. What's the queen of Athel Loren?
Ariel?
Thank you. Jeez. Ariel. Yeah. They don't have her as a character in here, do they?
Yeah, they do.
They do? Okay, let's look at her.
I think they actually have her in 2 different forms as well. So you have her on
I have this old model. Oh god, it's so bad. But it's beautiful at the same time.
You got her on foot there. She's monstrous infantry. 5 wounds. level 4 wizard, uses Athlorn. But then I think they actually added in her variant, her Age of Sigmar big monster version, I thought. But I don't see it anywhere.
She may use Screech when it would normally be her time to attack close combat. This is a special attack that automatically hits. Alright, so what's her Screech do? It doesn't tell me. Unless it's down here somewhere. I love this art of her. That's just so sweet. That's what I remember from that. That's the 4th edition book right there. Where does this show what her Screech does?
Yeah, I don't see.
So her Screech does nothing.
She's 540 points.
She better be. She's hard to pursue down in combat. She has the Dart of Doom. It's pretty much he built it so it's like she's the Age of Sigmar one. Or not Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Total War. Range of 12. If it hits, it calls 1 automatic wound which ignores armor saves. If the wound, blah, blah, blah. And they drain their strength by D3. It's pretty good. Just an automatic hit, you know. Automatic wound, I mean. If you cast a spell at her, the enemy has to take a leadership test. If they fail, he may not cast that spell for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
That's so good. I mean,
That's,
most characters, special characters, are too expensive for what they do.
yeah.
But, man, just seeing her on the field would be awesome. She gets a reroll any failed dispel. She can regain D3 wounds, but she's probably going to regain wounds from all the spells she'll be casting. Oh, and she has the Acorn of Ages. Okay. Once per blah, 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 it scatters just 1 extra forest?
And it scatters. That's what it looks like. Just 1 extra forest.
Oh, it used to be,
And
used to be D3.
And you get to declare what type of forest it is.
Screech auto hits all models in base contact and Nor's armor. Does it say that?
It's a special attack that automatically hits all enemy units in base contact. And
Probably should have read
armor
the second
saves.
sentence. Probably should have read the second sentence. Yeah, that would have been good. That's not bad.
I like how she's got 0 attacks.
Wait, it automatically hits. But has it wound? What do you roll to wound? Special attack, it automatically hits all enemy models in base contact with the ignore armor special rule. So how do you wound them?
It's a hell of a question.
That is a question, huh? Ignores armor special rule. Okay. Interesting. I don't know what I would do for that. But, still cool. Okay. I don't think there's any other characters that I would... Like, all these characters are cool.
Yeah, there's some good ones in there, but there's a bunch. And, you know.
Durathu's a powerhouse. Like, you can buff him up with the signature spell, and you can make him, like, Strength 7, Toughness 7, with 5 Strength 7 attacks, and he's got some cool, like, spice that can help him out. You're -1 to... that's pretty good. Doesn't say... So at initiative 2, so next turn, like, there'd be a -1 to hit. -1 to armor save. He gets to reroll his hits every turn, and he never loses his frenzy. Like, he will be beating stuff up.
If you're taking a tree man and want magic, you're taking Durathu over the tree man agent, I believe.
Inquisitor says it wounds off her strength, so she's strength 4. It's not bad.
That's what I assumed if it wasn't listed there.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I'm surprised it's not listed. It should be.
Definitely.
It should say. Or just always wounds on a 4 or something, like even if they're toughness 10 or something. So Drycha used to have this awesome rule where stuff, let's see, Rouse to Wrath, same thing, here you go. You can choose D3 units wholly composed of models with Forest Spear special rule. They're deployed as like slumbering. At the start of your remaining move subphase on the first turn, roll a D6. On a 1 to 2, nothing happens. On a 3+, the unit awakens. Place it on the battlefield so that all models in the unit are wholly within a forest and at least 1 inch away from other units and impassable terrain. So that's effectively what it was in 8th edition. If you just take a full Forest Spirit army, you could take Drycha and then just have a whole bunch of units just popping out of forest everywhere. But you would need to have enough forest on the field to really use her ability. But it's only D3, so you're going to have at least 1 forest on the field per your army rules. So you could easily put one in there, no problem. But it's probably too expensive for what she does. She's only T4 with 2 wounds.
Isn't she like over 200 points?
She's really expensive. Yeah. She's 200 points.
Yeah, sounds right.
I think she used to be more. Let me check that real quick. Dredja, 255. So she dropped 55 points. That's just pretty big. She did actually have an extra wound back then. She used to have 3 wounds. She gained a ballistic skill.
Oh, look at that.
Like, why? Weird. Okay, so I think that covers basically, we covered the lore, we covered all the basic troops and characters, and several special characters. I think that's good. Is there anything else that you needed to cover? First, I still say that Wood Elves can be a very strong army in the right hands. You just have to be a fantastic maneuver tactician when it comes to that. It's like you're playing chess while the other person is playing checkers. You have to outmaneuver. You have to outthink. You have to, I guess depending on your list, you have to whittle the enemy down with your arrow fire and even 2d6 strength 4 from your magic if you're taking the lore of Athel Loren. You have to whittle the army down and then hammer with the best stuff you can with this, which is mostly glass cannons, unless you have treekin, or if you just have your, what are they called? The hunters? The Sylvan Hunters. Yeah, unless you have the Sylvan Hunters, which are like shooting strength 5, you won't have anything really strength 6 that's on the field. All your damage is going to be strength 4 mostly, really even strength 3 with all your arrows.
Yeah.
So you just have to roll and make... The problem with Wood Elves is the games usually take longer because you're moving backwards and trying to outflank while the enemy is just bearing down on you. It's not you're bearing down on them too, and then you just hit a unit and you wipe it out, and there's like a third of their army gone, and you just do that like a couple times and the game's over. You have more chaff and more skirmishers than any other army in the game. Mostly, if you take the list that I like to run, that's what I like to do, is you have to just have a whole bunch of fast, not super damaging stuff, but you're just like outmaneuvering and peppering them the entire game until turn 4 or 5, you finally charge and you make that they're already whittled down so much, you will win combat and you will break them and chase them down. That's the way I like to play Wood Elves because that's about their lore.
Yeah, I don't think you can... that's kind of the way you have to run them. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you try playing like you play other armies and just have your big blocks and walk them forward, you're going to lose. So what you really end up doing is taking a lot of smaller units and kind of spreading out and just trying to, like you were saying, outflank and basically just outmaneuver the opponent. Wild Riders, I think, are your best hammer. They're the hardest hitting unit that you have. Mm-hmm. You can, Glade Guard will be a big part of your list because that's kind of the whole shtick. They're your core unit, and they shoot a ton of bows, but they are pretty expensive. So don't get too carried away with just thinking that you can just take a bunch of Glade Guard and shoot your opponent off the board because, you don't get rerolls or anything. So if you roll poorly, you roll poorly. It's all strength 3, so you can't really rely on that to do too much for you. I've gotten caught in that trap before, thinking like, oh, all these archers are going to do all the work. They don't. I mean, they can. Yeah. But it's likely not going to happen. So you really have to do what you're saying, kind of whittle your opponent down. And try to get in some flank charges and stuff. Try to do some fire and flee type stuff. Just get your opponent just stuck out in the open. Mm-hmm. Not doing anything. Yep. And I think it's really how you have to play them. And it's not easy. I fail more than I don't with Wood Elves. As much as I like playing them, it's not an easy army to play. I agree. And I think the worst thing about having multiple units like that is you probably won't get the +1 to go first. So you have to almost prepare that you're going second, unless a lot of your units are like scouting, because that doesn't count towards the +1. So I don't really like Glade Guard. I used to take multiple Glade Guard units, but now I'd rather take Wild Riders with a couple units of Eternal Guard, because I like to have Eternal Guard as stubborn, hold the line, while everything else, or Treekin as stubborn, or Tree Man as stubborn, hold the line while the rest of my army picks apart the stuff that my army is able to pick apart easier, and then it hits with everything else. Yeah, I think Eternal Guard and Treekin are actually kind of like the silent, like quiet MVPs of the Wood Elf list. I think they're sneaky good. That stubborn actually is really crucial for Wood Elves to hold things up.
Right.
While the rest of your army just moves around and gets in position. Because if you don't have that stubborn, a lot of times your enemy can just start like just rolling over units and just going next one, next one. So it's good to have some stubborn units in there. I think they're really important.
It's nice to see Eternal Guard actually have a 6/5, a 4-up versus shooting. If you give them shields, that's pretty good. 6/5, 4-up versus shooting. That's pretty good. Well, SquareHammers, I think that's it. I think that covers the Wood Elf version 1.4 pretty well for WAP. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let us know what you want to, what book you would like us to review next. Throw it in the comments, and stay square. Bye, guys. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. In a memento. Got to end this. Hold on. Where are you at? Well, you're going to stay with us for another second while I try and figure out how to end this thing. I got to go back to like YouTube Studio. Yeah, let's go over here. Well, we're just going to do all this. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
See ya.
All right.